an ad, you're partnering with trusted voices like Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and other influential hosts. Backed by millions of monthly listeners.
What's happening? Because of a real voice, man. I watch it all the time.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Real America's Voice gives sponsors the chance to put their product front and center, displayed on screen and highlighted by our anchors during exclusive segments and live events.
Head to freetrumpknife.com.
This means your brand becomes part of the conversation as it happens.
Secure your spot before it's too late.
Join us today and make your brand part of the news conversation that America's viewers trust. Real America's Voice, where your message is seen, heard, and remembered.
This is American Sunrise Early Edition. Here are the headlines that matter. First, I'm Brian Glenn, unfolding a lot this morning. Here's what's driving the day. In Washington, a shutdown standoff breaks. A one-vote House deal. Democrats split, and President Trump is poised to sign, but DHS funding temporarily. Who broke ranks? Who held the line? And why is this battle far from over? That's coming up. Meanwhile, the Middle East on edge. An Iranian drone near a U.S. warship. Warnings issued, warnings ignored. The drone shot down. The stakes just went up. What does this signal and why it matters right now, straight ahead. Meanwhile, a national security nightmare, a secret biolab in Las Vegas linked to China, thousands of vials labeled pathogens, federal agents moving in, what was found and what happens next. All this on American Sunrise Early Edition starts right now.
Welcome to American Sunrise Early Edition. The show where faith, freedom, and the values that built this nation take center stage.
You people and others like you built this country.
Join us as we break down the stories that matter.
FAFO.
If you don't know, now you know.
American Sunrise Early Edition on Real America's Voice starts now.
All right, good morning. Thanks for joining us on this hump day here, American Sunrise Early Edition. I am Brian Glenn. We'll get to all those stories, but first joining us now in today's forecast, Weather Nation's Tracy Anthony. Good morning, and for all of you right now, do you see at the bottom of your screen right now, scan that QR code, join the Weather Nation family, and even better, your hometown forecast awaits. So head on over to Real America's Voice chats on Getter and Rumble, YouTube, and in the 9 o'clock hour of American Sunrise, if you are selected, we'll deliver your hometown forecast live. So be a part of the fun and join us over there at Weather Nation. Tracy, it's always good to see you. So what's on tap for today's forecast?
Hey, good morning. Yeah, relatively calm and quiet. Now, we're still staying pretty chilly out across the east and record warmth out west. So we do have another system that's going to roll on through across the eastern U.S. So this is a Colorado low that's pushing now out across the Ohio Valley. This is going to bring some rain across the Gulf Coast states and some snow for areas like Virginia and North Carolina, the same areas that were hit with the last weekend winter system. So temperature-wise, that cold air is going to hang out across the Great Lakes. Those temperatures are going to be in the 20s and 30s, and actually by the weekend, we're getting another push of the cool Arctic temperatures. So this is just kind of the taste of it, kind of the appetizer. And then as we get into the weekend, that's when things are really going to plummet. Now, moisture-wise, out west, we're staying relatively calm and dry. You can see here, we just have a little moisture up along the Front Range, but it's the East Coast where we do have more moisture in the forecast. That's with that low pressure center that's working to the mid-Atlantic here throughout the day today. It's going to bring just some light rain. It's moving pretty quickly across the southern states, but notice North Carolina where you see those pinks. That's freezing rained. So that's freezing rain on top of the record snow that they had over the weekend. And it's been so cold that snow and ice hasn't melted yet. So this area we're really going to be watching is insult to injury when we're talking about freezing rain on top of that snow. So winter weather advisories have been reissued as this system works across the area. So Raleigh all the way to the coast. Now for Thursday, a similar situation. We're going to be very warm out across the western U.S. LA expected to get close to 90 degrees today and tomorrow, and that cold air just hanging out across the Great Lakes. The good news is for Florida, if you can see Miami there behind me, 72 degrees. Finally, South Florida going to warm back up a little bit. So that's the silver lining. You know, I was trying to make the best of it, but Brian, I am happy that we're going to be back in the 70s.
Yeah, everyone there in Palm Beach can put their convertibles tops back down,
Yeah.
right? You can now have some of the sunshine on you.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Tracy, we'll see you back on the other show on American Sunrise, and hopefully you'll deliver one of those lucky hometown forecast selections. You'll have that for our viewers as well. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. See you in a bit.
All right, let's check out our today's Bible verse. It comes from 2 Corinthians 4:18. While we do not look at things which are seen, but things which are not seen, for the things which are temporarily seen, in which they are seen, are eternal. So there you have it. Basically, trust in the Lord, and what you cannot see, he is working for everything for his good. Now, back to our top story here. Now, the House is passing a federal funding deal to end the shutdown by a single vote. The bill now heading to the president's desk with the DHA's funding only temporarily extended. That's for 9 more days, by the way, and immigration fight still unresolved. Joining us now from the campaign trail is Bobby Kahn, congressional candidate there in Las Vegas. We'll talk about your platform, making Vegas great again, here in a second. But what's your thoughts on someone that's hopefully going to make it into Congress to make a difference? But when you look at the Senate and some of the ways they've done, where basically I've called that the place where bills go to die. What's your take right now on all this controversy funding Department of Homeland Security?
I think there's too much chaos going on. Okay, they need to all get together and get things done and focus on the agenda of the people, and that's not what's happening. All right, I mean, you have all the houses, yet we're not getting things done. I don't understand that. Like, look at the filibuster, right? Like, I mean, they're so afraid that the Democrats are going to use it against it, but they're going to use it anyway, right? So why didn't you get rid of it? Get together. You could have done everything that you needed to do that the public voted President Trump in for, but nothing's being done, and the public's getting frustrated at this point. And then you have people in there that are in there for way too long and basically accomplishing absolutely nothing. And I think the country's frustrated with what's happening in Congress and in Senate.
Yeah. In terms of the DHS funding, they want to require take off the mask, which I don't want to unmask these ICE agents. And they also want to be able to have a warrant to go get an illegal. Now, my thought process on this, Bobby, is if you're here illegally, I shouldn't have to go get a warrant to remove you from our country.
Well, yeah, you're here illegally, right? So it's like, I mean, the argument out there that they have is that, okay, well, they don't have, they still have rights and stuff, but you're here illegally. You broke the law to come in here, and these guys their job is out there to arrest you and deport you at this point. And they just don't seem to understand that. At the end of the day, these guys are going to go out there and do a job. If you start showing their faces, they're going to get attacked personally in their private lives, and that's putting them at risk.
All right, let's talk about make Vegas great again. You popped up on social media, almost going viral with, you've got videos that go into the hundreds of thousands of views on them. You've got a lot of people that have recognized you, people that go to Vegas, that see you on social media, that say, hey, I don't live here, but if I did, I'd vote for you. What is some of what needs to happen to make Vegas great again? I know it's a big question, but what's your number one issue with Las Vegas?
Well, it's make Vegas Vegas again, okay? Because Vegas has lost its touch, and Vegas is hurting at the moment. I'm thankful I launched my campaign. I was the underdog, and now I'm the front runner. 23 million people a month are watching my videos online, and people from all over the world, because at the end of the day, Vegas is the world's playground. And Vegas in the last couple of years took a big hit after COVID, when the Democrats shut us down. You know, a lot of casinos had to sell their land. Price gouging became a thing. They got rid of everything that made Vegas great, like, you know, the buffets, the free parking, and all that stuff. And the casinos are hurting. But you know what? There's all kinds of regulations that are hurting them too. So, like, I have an agenda that's going to go out there. It's a common sense agenda, because I'm a businessman, and I got to look at it. How's it going to help our city? So, like, I'm out there fighting for zero taxes on gambling winnings. It doesn't matter what you win. You know, I started talking about this 7 months ago, and recently President Trump talked about it too. You know, I want to update a lot of the old laws that are strangling these businesses, like cash reporting. You know, take it from $10,000 to $100,000, because the law is old. It was put on the books in the 1970s. You could have bought a house for $10,000 back then, but you can't today. So you know what? That's less paperwork these casinos do. It's more money that they can put back into the casinos, you know, and updating just stuff that is strangling our casinos, our small businesses, and everyday people. And it's like, you know what? People woke up and like, why didn't somebody talk about this years ago? It's just common sense stuff that would help. And all these things are a shot in the arm for our casino industry and our town. And it actually helps the rest of the country out too. So while we're helping Vegas out and, you know, trying to bring costs down, put money back into our economy and get people to come back out here again, it's going to help the rest of our country too. And just like that, I just focused on a common sense agenda where it's like, you know, zero taxes for veterans, you know, just cutting the red tape, less government. You know, people are tired. People want us to focus on America, and, you know, for us, focus on Vegas, focus on Nevada, and rest of it. They're tired of all the rest. They're like, hey, we pay taxes, and our money ends up everywhere else except for helping us out.
You know, but also you're able to cross over and bring in a lot of, from what I can understand, a lot of independents and Democrat voters. Tell me kind of what platform you're kind of running on. I know that you were thinking about at one point changing that. What's the latest on that?
Well, so here's what happened. Okay, when I launched my campaign, I'm a common sense guy. I'm a convicted felon that, you know, left prison and decided to run for Congress, and now people of all over the world have started supporting me. And I saw something that, you know, normally wouldn't see. And in our state, we have a close primary where only the establishment, which is like, you know, if the NRCC, the people that didn't support President Trump, they're the ones that basically are the ones that are in charge, and they keep the establishment candidates in there. So it prevents newcomers to go out there and actually win. Well, I started seeing support from everybody, and our state is a state where we have majority independent voters. So I have Democrats donating to me, Republicans, independents. I mean, my events are all age groups, all parties. So last night, I decided that I'm going to run as an independent instead of as a Republican, because at this point, I can go out there and get the votes of everybody, and I go right to the general election. I skip the primary. And by doing so, I do not, you know, I'm not cheating my voters and my supporters of a chance to vote for me, because if I stuck it out in the primary, then I wouldn't, you know, they wouldn't be able to vote for me. And the issue is that the NRCC and, you know, the establishment, they don't want somebody that's out there vocal and loud and doesn't bow down and kiss the ring. And that's not something I ever do. So now I just basically made sure that I will be the front runner, and I will be able to get rid of Dina Titus come November.
There you go. Bobby Kahn running for Congress there in Nevada to make Vegas again. If you could just eliminate the $50 valet fee or even more that some of these hotels charge, that would be a good start. Hey, how can someone, if they live in Nevada, get more information about your campaign? We've got about 10 seconds left.
You can go to my social media, Real Bobby Kahn on Instagram, or BobbyKahnForCongress.com.
There you go. Bobby, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate
All right, still ahead on the shutdown deal and what comes next with Senator Ron Johnson. But first, tensions are rising overseas. An Iranian drone and a U.S. warship at a moment that could change everything. That story coming up next. Stick around.
If there were 40 more, I wouldn't sleep a minute away. Oh, there's blackjack and poker and the roulette.
Minnesota's headlines are getting wild. Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar are being accused of massive fraud, and it's so bad, all you can do is laugh at this point. So from Real America's Music, the label that brought you the #1 hit, Anthem of the Free, comes a brand new song from singer-songwriter Natasha Owens, The Somali Waltz. Let's make the music industry mad and run this to #1. Scan the QR code or search The Somali Waltz on iTunes and buy it right now. The Somali Waltz, available everywhere. Now is the moment to put your brand in front of an engaged, loyal audience through Real America's Voice. When you advertise on Real America's Voice, you're not just running an ad, you're partnering with trusted voices like Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and other influential hosts. Backed by millions of monthly listeners.
What's happening? Because of a real voice, man. I watch it all the time.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Real America's Voice gives sponsors the chance to put their product front and center, displayed on screen and highlighted by our anchors during exclusive segments and live events.
Head to freetrumpknife.com.
This means your brand becomes part of the conversation as it happens.
Secure your spot before it's too late.
Join us today and make your brand part of the news conversation that America's viewers trust. Real America's Voice, where your message is seen, heard, and remembered.
Welcome back to American Sunrise Early Edition, live look at New Orleans. Great city. All right, I'm Brian Glenn. A quick look at the headlines that we're tracking this morning. A witness to Charlie Kirk's assassination describing the horror as the accused killer appeared in court, the defense moving to disqualify the prosecutor whose daughter was at the scene, the judge rejecting claims that the entire office is tainted, but still reviewing the prosecutor's role. The case on that continues with media access allowed and the defendant back in court later this month. The next headline crossing today is the FBI and Las Vegas police raid a suspected illegal biolab over the weekend. More than 1,000 biological samples were seized. The CDC identifies potentially infectious agents, including, get this, HIV, tuberculosis, malaria, and possible Ebola. Authorities linked the operation to a Chinese national and international fugitive connected to another biolab case in California. These materials are now being tested. The question this morning is how many of these are hiding in our neighborhoods? Scary stuff now. Meanwhile, tensions escalate in the Middle East. The U.S. military confirming an Iranian drone was shot down near the USS Abraham Lincoln in the Arabian Sea. Officials say the drone approached the warship with unclear intent. Warnings were issued, warnings were ignored. An F-35 fighter jet took down the drone in what the military calls an act of self-defense. The incident comes amid heightened tensions with Iran and raises serious questions about what this means going forward. Now, to a story and now a warning that a Chinese satellite technology aiding Iran might be shifting the balance and deterring U.S. action. That warning comes from Brandon Weichert. He joins us. He's the author of The Shadow of War, Iran's Quest for Supremacy. Brandon joins us now to talk about that. Brandon, this story, or this ongoing saga in Iran just builds almost every single week. There is some type of development. We're moving warships in the area. Now we just shot down a drone by an F-35 jet. What is the person at home right now to make of all of this?
Well, it's hanging by a hair thread here, the idea that we're going to be able to avoid a major war in the Middle East. Right now, the American side is determined that the air defense systems in the region are not powerful enough, they're not built up enough yet to be able to stop the kind of Iranian missile attack that would occur if we did do airstrikes like we were going to over the weekend against the regime. And now you add in that story about the carrier. Our aircraft carriers are our primary form of power projection for the Navy. And yet for years, as I've been warning in my writings, for years, the carrier is becoming increasingly vulnerable to anti-ship ballistic missiles, of which Iran has entire arsenals of, and the kind of precise tracking that countries like China can do on our carriers. These are big targets. They're easy to see from space. They can be tracked in real time by advanced satellites. And that's what caused Trump to stand down, because over the weekend he realized the Arabs aren't going to help me shoot down those missiles. The air defense systems in my bases and in Israel are not enough. And now the Chinese are helping Iranian ASPMs range the carrier. So even if I can launch airstrikes from the carrier, that carrier is going to get damaged and destroyed. These things are $13 billion of worth of tax dollars. We can't lose one of these things.
But has Iran been self-described as a kind of a paper tiger? Should we really fear the force of their military? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that a fair assessment or no?
Well, back in 2018 or 2019, a Saudi official, I used to live in Washington, D.C., a Saudi official told me, he described Iran as a paper tiger with steel claws. In a conventional war, no, the Iranian military is not a threat. But in these sort of very key areas of stunting American air power and stymieing American naval power projection, particularly with surface warships like a carrier, the Iranians have honed a capability that is a very significant problem. By the way, it's not just against us. The Israelis are worried too now, because they're realizing that as great as the Iron Dome is, and it is, it's not enough to stop the fusillade of Iranian long-range missiles, hypersonic weapons, drones, and also all the missiles from the Houthis and possibly Hezbollah if we did go in and start striking regime targets. Because another airstrike against Iran would not just be relegated to nuclear sites. It would be to try to decapitate the regime, and the regime knows it, so they have a use it or lose it mentality. They will strike back hard if they feel we're trying to take out the regime.
All right, lots to keep up with. Brandon Weichert, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you. All right, now a quick word for one of our sponsors, the international disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There is never-ending list of reasons why gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And it's never-ending list of reasons why smart Americans are diversifying a portion of their savings into precious metals. With our friends over the Birch Gold Group, more than any other commodity on earth, gold thrives during this uncertainty, which is why it's crucial to have a part of your balanced strategy. It gives you a peace of mind, given all the events that can impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold as a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. The Birch Gold Group can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a gold-backed IRA. Just text America to 989898 to receive your free information kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. They've got an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers. Let the Birch Gold Group help you diversify with gold, so you can too have a peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Just text America to 989898. Again, that's America to the number 989898. Do it today. All right, still ahead, the NFL is doubling down on its halftime entertainment choices. What in the world is Commissioner Roger Goodell saying now, and why is it fueling more backlash? All of that when we come back in about 2 minutes. Stick around. Early edition starts after the break.
Minnesota's headlines are getting wild. Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar are being accused of massive fraud, and it's so bad, all you can do is laugh at this point. So from Real America's Music, the label that brought you the #1 hit, Anthem of the Free, comes a brand new song from singer-songwriter Natasha Owens, The Somali Waltz. Let's make the music industry mad and run this to #1. Scan the QR code or search The Somali Waltz on iTunes and buy it right now. The Somali Waltz, available everywhere. Now is the moment to put your brand in front of an engaged, loyal audience through Real America's Voice. When you advertise on Real America's Voice, you're not just running an ad, you're partnering with trusted voices like Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and other influential hosts. Backed by millions of monthly listeners.
What's happening? Because of a real voice, man. I watch it all the time.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Real America's Voice gives sponsors the chance to put their product front and center, displayed on screen and highlighted by our anchors during exclusive segments and live events.
Head to freetrumpknife.com.
This means your brand becomes part of the conversation as it happens.
Secure your spot before it's too late.
Join us today and make your brand part of the news conversation that America's viewers trust. Real America's Voice, where your message is seen, heard, and remembered.
Take a look at that. A view from the Washington Monument right now. That's a live shot in Washington, D.C. Welcome back to American Sunrise Early Edition. I am Brian Glenn. Before we dive into that next topic, a quick word from one of our sponsors. Artillery Tea Company is the only America First veteran-owned tea brand, and their mission is to maximize flavor with whole leaf blends and chemical-free tea bags. No junk, just real tea. But here's a tactical advantage. Each bag brews twice. Go to the website, artillerytco.com. Use the promo code RAV for 10% off your first order. That's artillerytco.com. Premium tea, mission-driven, brewed for the brave. All right, our next guest, he is brave. We are just days out from the Super Bowl, and the commissioner, Roger Goodell, standing Bad Bunny and Green Day. Take a listen.
I think everybody would want to listen. Bad Bunny and I think that was demonstrated last night, one of the great artists in the world. And that's one of the reasons we chose him. But the other reason is he understood the platform he was on, and that this platform is used to unite people and to be able to bring people together with their creativity, with their talents, and to be able to use this moment to do that. And I think artists in the past have done that. I think Bad Bunny understands that, and I think he'll have a great performance.
Meanwhile, a digital billboard in San Francisco delivering a very different message, reminding everyone, including the halftime performers, that ICE is here to protect and serve. With us now is George Reicher. He played 6 seasons in NFL with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, first, do you agree with Roger Goodell that the NFL is a world-viewed sport?
100%. Think about just this season alone. Games have been played in Brazil, in England, in Germany, in other countries as well. Mexico City. This is an international game. This is an international event. The Super Bowl is viewed in more. The only thing that is viewed more in more countries than the Super Bowl is the Olympics. So yes, it is an international event of a private company that's no longer receiving any tax exemptions or anything else. And I understand where we want this to be an American show of patriotism, but that's not what it is. This is a private company. This is an entertainment event.
Okay, as a former player, and I'll ask you this, If you played today, would you be a fan flying over to Frankfurt, Germany, doing a game that week, and then flying back to perhaps San Francisco? I mean, are the players in support of this international effort by the NFL?
The thing the players don't love is the taxing on their bodies, but the thing that they do love is that it gets a chance for them, their families, to experience different cultures, and for them to be bigger stars outside of just the United States, because that brings additional revenue opportunities to the individual players if they can resonate with the fans across the pond.
Okay. Okay. All right. So let's turn our attention to the Bad Bunny and the Green Day. And I'm a music guy, George. Before I got into politics, I covered music. So I'm very in touch with music. But I don't think, and this is my opinion, I don't think that Bad Bunny is going to resonate with the majority of fans in the NFL that will tune in from the U.S., because this is a U.S. sport. The game is played in the U.S. I don't think Bad Bunny connects with them. Now, I may be wrong. Now, I know Green Day, they're from the Northern California, so they've got a little bit of grounding there. But this was promoted as perhaps he might come out in a dress. He might do it all in Spanish. Do you think that's best for the NFL to have that performer lead their halftime performance at the biggest game of the year, the Super Bowl?
I know everybody's afraid he's going to come out in a dress. I can assure you he will not be coming out in a dress. And one of the things that people have gotten confused is this is a United States performer. He just performs in Spanish the majority of his songs. Puerto Rico is a U.S. unincorporated territory. He has free reign to move in every single state. He can live in any state. And one of the things that, because I'm not a person who votes along party lines, even though people sometimes from my stances, sometimes they think I sit on one side or the other. I think it's important for us to realize as Americans, right? Whether you are a conservative, whether you are a liberal, whether you are MAGA, whatever you identify as, right? Everybody is really in love with the country. I love being an American. You love being an American. I think the difference is where people get confused, because the people who sit on one side of the aisle are saying, we don't like the direction that America is headed, right? The people on the other side of the aisle are saying, we don't like the direction that America is headed. And we are in an international event, an entertainment event at the Super Bowl. And the goal is to entertain. Bad Bunny is the #1 streamed artist in the world in 2025 and #2 overall, but behind the great Taylor Swift. So the NFL is playing to the fans in the United States. I don't got a lot of Bad Bunny. Actually, I don't think I have any Bad Bunny on my playlist. I don't have any Green Day on my playlist either. But I understand that music is global, and it also might be a chance for me to experience something that I'm not super familiar with.
Gotcha. Okay, I've got about a minute left. There's a digital billboard outside of the Super Bowl location that basically supports ICE. I think we might have a shot of that right there. What's your thoughts on having a digital billboard supporting ICE outside the Super Bowl area? There it is on your screen right now.
It is a private, like, you can buy billboards wherever you want to buy them, put anything that's non-offensive on them. I don't care. And I think that people get confused is nobody has an issue. Like, no sensible people have an issue with ICE rounding up criminals and people that are making our communities unsafe. Nobody has an offense to that. But the problem is that only about 10% of people who have been detained by ICE have actually been convicted of a crime. And we want them to go get those people, as opposed to, and focus their efforts and funding on that more so than people who are paying taxes here in the United States.
Gotcha. All right, George, I'm hoping to have you on back next week. We can talk about the big game, who won, what big mistakes were made. We'll kind of recap that. George, I appreciate it. Have a good weekend. We'll see you back next week.
Yep. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, George. All right. Now exclusive reporting from El Salvador, our very own Oscar Ramirez on the ground inside a maximum security prison. Take a listen.
We're located inside of the prison of Secot. This is what it needs to be done in every part in Central America and in South America. This is how you fight terrorism. This is how you clean a country. This is how you bring peace to the citizens, not stepping away from them, not running away from the problems. This right here is how you resolve a problem to remove every single terrorist that is located right here. It is because they were terrorizing the Salvadorian people, Central America and South America. This is a message to all of you in the United States of America who they are terrorizing with their domestic violence. This is where you need to be located if you continue like that. Nayib Bukele set up the example as a copy-paste to bring peace to the citizens. And this goes to all of you. Claudia Sheinbaum that protects the cartels to not designate them as terrorists. Look what the example. To all the regime in Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, Diosdado Cabello, this is how you resolve a problem. You don't resolve a problem from running away from it. You resolve a problem from attacking it from within and fixing the problem to bring peace to the citizens. Democrats and you, Gavin Newsom, Nancy Pelosi, and Omar Rashida Tlaib, all you progressive mercenary politicians, here you are. If you want to take them, go ahead. Come and get them and take them home. They're waiting for you. Just defend their human rights.
Catalogado como corredor de programa, los tatuajes alusivos a la estructura a la que pertenece, el sujeto está condenado porque fue quien planificó y ordenó el homicidio de un juez de paz de la ciudad de Melguera del Golfo, en el oriente del país. Hasta ese nivel llegaban estas estructuras criminales de atacar a miembros del sistema judicial por el simple hecho de perseguirlos y condenarlos. Ese sujeto es uno de los responsables. Está condenado a 780 años de prisión.
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
This is built like a chicken McNugget, but
This is After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
You're a globalist. You don't care about America.
No apologies.
You're a pro-abortion when you should have been aborted.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I was recently sexually assaulted within the metaverse.
I want to vaccinate your mom.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
Cut your penis off, Max.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with Alex Stein. Coming soon to Real America's Voice.
The radical left knows exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. Welcome to American Sunrise Early Edition. The show where faith, freedom, and the values that built this nation take center stage.
Welcome back again to American Sunrise Early Edition. I am Brian Glenn. Lots to go over this morning, so let's head over to our Denver newsroom for the latest headlines with the one and only Terrance Bates. Terrance.
Hey, Brian, good morning. So look, before we get going, Brian, I just want you to know I really care about this segment. I'm always thinking of ways to improve my part of it because, of course, when you come on, it is awesome. And so I feel like I'm the one that's bringing down the niveau of this segment. And so I thought this morning, okay, well, maybe I'll do the segment with no tie and no makeup. Fortunately for you and our viewers, I thought, no, I am going to put on a tie and I am going to put on makeup. The no makeup thing, I think, may have scared people away. But do know that I'm constantly thinking about evolving this segment. All right, B, let's get to it. So Immigration and Customs Enforcement says that no operations are going to be planned for Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco this weekend. The National Football League's chief security officer even saying that there will be federal law enforcement at the event.
Our Department of Homeland Security, who's been our partner for more than 20 years now, is made up of more than 20 different departments. We'll send a variety of different agencies. That does not include ICE. There is not ICE deployed with us at the Super Bowl, and I don't believe there has been in the last several. But most of the other departments, from the Coast Guard to, many other agencies, are here.
Sunday's game, by the way, designated a SEAR, S-E-A-R-1 event, which, of course, is the second highest security assessment rating for a large-scale event. Concern was raised about the possibility of ICE operations when it was announced that reggaeton artist Bad Bunny would be performing the Super Bowl halftime show. He is expected to perform that show largely, if not totally, in Spanish. By the way, Brian, I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a billboard up in Fisherman's Wharf there in San Francisco now that says Defensive Player of the Year, ICE, and it's a big billboard kind of in support of ICE, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, we just had our previous segment. We had a former NFL player on the show. We talked a little bit about that. And also, I got his take on the Bad Bunny thing. Look, I get it. The NFL is an international game. I'm particularly not a fan of playing games anywhere outside the U.S. I don't think the players like it from a physical standpoint. They might like to travel to Germany, but they don't like from a physical standpoint. Look, I'm going to turn over to the Kid Rock, whose halftime performance that Turning Point is doing, but not a big fan of Bad Bunny, but I know why they booked him. He is the #1 streamer in the world right now.
No, absolutely. It's a business decision, just like those games that are being played in Spain or London or in Germany, to your point. Yeah, we may not necessarily like it. It means that we have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever to try to catch our team that might be playing. But it's a business decision, Brian, as you said. And the NFL is trying to broaden its appeal globally, trying to make it more of a global game. I get it. Whether I like it or not, okay. But I get from a business perspective, it's about dollars and cents for the NFL. I definitely get that. Hey, this is another story that we're keeping an eye on, Brian. Former President Bill Clinton and his wife, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, set to testify before Congress related to the body's ongoing investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. The former First Lady scheduled to be deposed on February 26th. Her husband will face the House Oversight Committee the very next day. The agreement for the former first couple to testify avoids a contempt of Congress vote, which was scheduled to happen today. You may remember the House Oversight Committee voted to hold the duo in contempt after they failed to show up for their previously scheduled deposition last month. Now, the Clintons appear to be singing a new tune, though. The new deposition agreement comes following months of wrangling between attorneys representing the Clintons and the House Oversight Committee. Do you expect to hear anything that will change kind of what we know about the current investigation or what we know about Jeffrey Epstein? More importantly, do you think they actually show up, or do they try to push this thing back again the closer we get to their deposition dates?
That's a great question. I think they do show up. President Trump was asked yesterday in the Oval Office about this, and he actually had a few kind words to say about Hillary Clinton and Bill, for the most part. I think they'll come in there. They'll defend themselves being mentioned in the Epstein files, and I think they will probably lean into accusing President Trump, even though we all know there's zero evidence of any abuse by President Trump on any of these alleged victims. They've even said that in deposition. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But I do think they do show up, Terrance.
So how often do you think we'll hear this phrase? On advice of my attorney, I'm not going to answer that question.
Probably a lot. Probably a lot on that. All right, Terrance. Well, we're going to see you in about 16 minutes on the other side of the hour. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. As the shutdown fights an end, the focus shifts to elections. Senator Ron Johnson is backing proof of citizenship and tougher voting rules, but he is pushing back on federal control of elections. Senator Ron Johnson joins us now to talk about that and a whole lot more. First, this voter ID, the SAVE Act, it is 94% approval in Democrats and even 94% in Republicans. It's widely supported. Why doesn't the Senate get this passed?
Good morning. Well, the unfortunate fact is Democrats want to make it easy to cheat the elections. This is their game plan. They open up the border. They flood America with millions of illegal immigrants, making them dependent on government, dependent on them as the party of big government, to gain and maintain power. That's their game plan. It's working beautifully for them, unfortunately for the rest of America.
Okay, now let's talk about the pushback that you have on the federal controls of elections. Just explain to our viewers that viewpoint.
Well, again, we're a nation of federated sovereign states, and those states have the responsibility of conducting their own elections. I don't want to have the federal government take over those elections. I think it's completely appropriate to have basic standards for federal elections, like citizenship requirement, like voter ID. I think we've gone way too far in terms of early voting. The Baker-Carter Commission warned us that the use of absentee ballots probably represented the greatest threat for fraud in our elections, and yet we doubled absentee ballots in 2020, and we've continued to push them. California wants mail-in ballots. They want automatic registration. So that there's just certain guide rails, some basic guidelines, parameters that I think the federal government can impose on states, but allow the states to actually conduct the elections themselves.
Senator Johnson, I agree with you, because I tried to convey to our viewers a couple of years ago that if, God forbid, a Democrat took over, you don't want them in control of your elections, right? I mean, they would weaponize them to a certain degree, like they've tried already on this. So I think that's a wise call on that. Okay, real quickly, the filibuster. A lot of people call for it to be removed. President Trump has been in the Oval Office. Where are we at on getting rid of the filibuster?
Well, again, the filibuster is not something that the Constitution called for. It really was developed in the early 1900s, I believe, because the Senate wanted to bring debate to a close, because otherwise, senators, you've got a rule called the two-speech rule. On whatever topic, each senator can speak at least twice, unlimited amount of time. And so that was, at some point in time, viewed dilatory. And so they wanted to bring debate to a close by a vote. Now, it started out as 2/3 threshold, or first 3/4, then 2/3. Now it's at 3/5, 60 votes. But again, there's no reason why we couldn't institute the talking filibuster and make Democrats exhaust their two-speech rule. Now, it would take many hours of floor time. Parties have been very reluctant to do it. But when you're literally talking about, saving this country, making sure that and what I've been proposing is something I've been calling the Secure Election, or the Secure America Act. Secure our elections, secure our border, secure taxpayer funds. In other words, the bills to eliminate or prevent as much as possible fraud, secure healthcare. I mean, those would be four elements. I think we need to make this Secure America Act pretty simple, pretty streamlined, and have in that bill pieces of legislation that are widely popular, like the Save America Act that requires citizenship for registration and voter ID for voting. These things are, again, there are things that Americans support. Democrats don't, because, again, they want to make it easy to cheat.
Yeah. You're spitting facts there. Common sense approach. Senator Ron Johnson, we thank you for your time this morning, and good luck, and keep fighting for us. I appreciate it.
Have a good day.
You too. All right, the final stretch of American Sunrise. It continues after the break. The great David Brody coming up next.
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
This is built like a chicken McNugget, but
this is After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
You're a globalist. You don't care about America.
No apologies.
You're a pro-abortion when you should have been aborted.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I was recently sexually assaulted within the metaverse.
I want to vaccinate your mom.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
Cut your penis off, Max.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with Alex Stein. Coming soon to Real America's Voice.
Radical left knows exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history.
Welcome back, American Sunrise, early edition. I am Brian Glenn. Make Vegas, Vegas again. My goodness, why do you have to pay $50 to get your car valeted? It doesn't make... I remember when Vegas buffets were like $19, all you can eat. You camp out for like 2 hours, have all the crab legs you want. Now, $89 time limit, move the table, get out. Talk about perhaps that and a whole lot more as our own David Brody. David, are you a big fan of Vegas?
Let me tell you, I've been there about 5 or 6 times. I do enjoy it. I will admit, I do enjoy it because, as you know, I'm a sinner. But then again, aren't we all? But look, here's the thing. That $89, that is correct, Brian. You've got your finger on the pulse of Vegas, so to speak, because I'm going there. I'm going there Friday through Monday for a little mini vacation with the family.
Super Bowl weekend.
Correct, Super Bowl weekend. We're going there, and I got to tell you, I looked into the buffets, and some of the top buffets there, like Caesar's Palace, there's another one wherever, the Bellagio, I don't know. Anyhow, $89. I'm like, I remember back in the day, you know, when around the Civil War, when you and I were, you know, obviously reporting, that the buffet was like you said, it was like $20, $25, and it was all. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm frustrated.
No,
but you know what?
I'm with you, and I think what they've done is COVID killed that too. If you remember, COVID decimated the travel industry. It crippled Las Vegas. They've had a hard time getting out of it, and of course what they did was they just increased the price of everything. It's an interesting city. All right, let's talk. What do you want to go to first? You want to talk a little bit of the government shutdown, DHS funding getting pushed for another 9 days. That's it, 9 days.
Yeah, here's the sad part. By the way, this is clearly a potpourri of topics we can talk about. But there are a couple of things. First of all, 9 days. So that becomes, only in Washington does pushing the can down the road for 9 days become a victory. You know, everybody's celebrating. Hey, we did it. We did it. Way to go. Hey, by the way, we'll be back to you in 9 days and see how it's going. But beyond back to you in 9 days, actually, it starts right now. And you're right, Brian. What is going to be the compromise on DHS DHS funding. And let's be clear, there's going to be a compromise. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the White House is not going to cut a deal with Schumer to say, okay, we're going to punt for 2 weeks on DHS funding if there isn't some sort of compromise talk that will happen. And it will happen. Now, the thing is that we were talking to Mark Alford yesterday on the show, Congressman Mark Alford, and he said the red line for him and many House Republicans is they're not going to unmask these agents. If Democrats think the unmasking is going to happen, it's not. So I think that and I don't think President Trump's going to try to do that in the negotiation, but if he did, I think Republicans would stand up to him on it. I really do. Now, I don't think it's going to come to that. So then we find out what it is. It's going to be more about judicial warrants as opposed to administrative warrants. Well, that's ridiculous, too, because most immigration raids, if you will, are done through administrative warrants rather than judicial warrants. I mean, there are obviously judicial warrants as well. So I don't know. All I know is that we're going to be talking about it for 9 straight days. So this isn't really a victory. This is just another punt in the fourth quarter like it normally is.
Yeah. We'll also be talking about the Epstein files, and will Bill and Hillary Clinton show up to that subpoena? What's the odds that they show up, and what do you think they say? We got about 35 seconds. I'm sorry, David. I
think they'll show up. I mean, they're not going to go through all of this to not show up. I think they understand that the contempt charges are real and that the Republicans are serious, and they know they have there's a DOJ that's going to probably follow through on that. I like the fact, Brian, real quick, that it's going to be videotaped as well on February 26th or 27th, so that will be good news.
There you go. What's good news? You got more David Brody coming up in 5 minutes and 18 seconds. That's good news.
Wow. That's an accurate clock.
All right. Thank you. All right. We'll see you back here tomorrow, bright and early, 7 a.m. Eastern. As always, goodbye. God bless. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Have a great day.
American Sunrise is a great way to start your morning. Join us Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got the news of the day and some compelling interviews that you don't want to miss. Here's what you missed from yesterday.
We've got a lot to talk about that isn't quite that yet, but we've got it's touching on it. The Clintons, right, T?
No, absolutely. They've now allegedly agreed to testify as part of the House's Epstein investigation. All of this comes as there was a contempt vote that was set for tomorrow. In fact, James Comer, the House Oversight Committee chairman, saying that he plans to move forward with the vote until they get in front of some cameras or somewhere for a testimony. All of this, of course, related to the fact that the Clintons initially skipped that testimony.
It is so much worse than I had any idea. I really thought this whole next dump would be a whole lot of nothing. It is so much worse than I had any idea. A lot of things that we have laughed and scoffed at people for believing look like there's a lot of stuff in the Epstein files that could mean maybe they weren't crazy. Maybe we should have been listening a long time.
Basically, the bluff was called, and now they're saying, oh, okay, actually, we will do it. Oh, really? So you're just going to be like everybody else that would actually have to testify in front of Congress? Come on. I mean, finally, we're getting somewhere. We'll see.
Prayers going up for Savannah Guthrie. She, of course, is the Today host. Her mother, it appears, has been kidnapped. A lot of people, including the sheriff there in Arizona, in Pima County, Arizona, just out of Tucson, saying that the mom's house is now a crime scene and that it looks like she was taken against her will. So prayers going up for her.
The House Rules Committee has advanced a key funding bill and an 8-4 party line vote setting up a floor vote to end a partial government shutdown. This package included 5 appropriations bills and a 2-week continuing resolution for Homeland Security. And it now heads to the full House as lawmakers push to reopen operations before federal funds run out. House Speaker Mike Johnson says he expects action as soon as today.
We're going to get this done today. I've had no doubt that this is going to get done. We did our job, of course, a week and a half ago, passing the 12th of the 12 appropriation bills and sent it over to the Senate. We had to deal with the Senate, and they broke their word, basically. They wanted some changes to cut the DHS funding, which also, ladies and gentlemen, includes cuts to FEMA, cuts to the Coast Guard, cuts to the TSA, where they're not able to at least be paid. They're not necessarily cuts, but by doing not having a continuing resolution like we're going to vote on today, that would be essentially put that in a continued shutdown mode. And we can't have that. We got to get our work done, and Democrats need to get out of the way.
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
This is built like a chicken McNugget, but
This is After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
You're a globalist. You don't care about America.
No apologies.
You're a pro-abortion when you should have been aborted.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I was recently sexually assaulted within the metaverse.
I want to vaccinate your mom.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with Alex Stein. Coming soon to Real America's Voice.
The radical left knows exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history.
Ahead on American Sunrise, President Trump signs the spending bill ending the partial government shutdown. With DHS funding only extended for just over a week now, is this really a victory? We'll break it all down for you. Plus, the next chapter in the Epstein saga continues as the Clintons are scheduled to testify before the House Oversight Committee at the end of this month. So what insight might they have about the disgraced pedophile and his cohorts? Georgia Congressman Andrew Clyde is here to explain. And then later, shot down, an Iranian drone aggressively approaches a U.S. aircraft carrier in the Gulf and is blown out of the sky. Now, or how will this impact nuclear talks with the rogue Islamic Republic later this week? Those stories and so much more coming your way right now on American Sunrise.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
We have breaking news to share with you.
politics,
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
we've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrance.
And I'm Dr. Gina. Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Gina. We are live with you from the Palm Beaches. Let's bring in David Brody in Washington, D.C., Terrance Bates in our Denver newsroom. Good morning, guys.
Hola. Happy
Dr.
Wednesday.
Gina, David. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. The government is back open. Yay, yay. Or maybe a bit more of you to be yay. David, yeah. Oh, yeah, woo. Okay. That's what my kids do behind my back when I tell them to wash the dishes, so I get that, David. So look, as I mentioned, the government is back open right now. Agencies are fully funded. The Department of Homeland Security, though, is the outlier. It's got a dark cloud over it as it is under a 2-week continuing resolution. But funding is in place for it to continue its mission. During a budget signing ceremony at the White House on Tuesday, House Speaker Mike Johnson taking a bit of a victory lap.
For a long time, we wanted to get back to regular order in the appropriations process. You're standing up here with the best appropriators in the business and have served in many years, and we've forced the muscle memory back. We're getting back to that regular order process. 12 separate appropriations bills. We've gotten them to your desk, and this is a big thing. It seems like a small thing, but it's a big thing, and we're spending less money year over year, and with all the innovations and things that you said there, this is good for the country, and America is back. The hat is appropriate. It's the right slogan.
And Dr. Gina and David, during that very same signing ceremony, President Trump also addressing Savannah Guthrie's mom's disappearance. The 84-year-old, of course, is believed to have been kidnapped. Authorities say, or there are reports out there at least, that authorities found a ransom note as well as blood. An ex-NYPD hostage negotiator believes that more than one person may be involved here. We had a lengthy conversation this morning during our editorial meeting, guys, about how the mainstream media would cover this had the commentator's mother been conservative, or had the commentator been conservative and it was a mother. I'd like you guys to weigh in on that again as well. I think our audience would appreciate that conversation as well, Dr. Gina.
Well, I think it was actually Steve Gruber that made the point yesterday on this program that had this been conservative, I don't think it would have been handled the same way. You know, people aren't talking about. I think if it had been a conservative, a host of a morning show that was a conservative, if her mother were kidnapped, I think you would hear things like, "Well, they were Trump radical. They were demonstrating for ICE. They were putting public statements out for." I think you would have just heard some level of nastiness about that person. Instead, what you've heard is, you know, and I have to tell you, I don't know who Savannah Guthrie is. I don't know if I'm just the wrong, demographic or what. It's not a show I've ever watched. I wouldn't recognize her in a lineup, but I feel horrible for her. This is her mother that's missing. My gosh, this is an 85-year-old woman. Anyone can relate to this. And so, or I'm not sure her exact age, 83 maybe. I might have the age wrong.
84, I believe.
Okay. And so apologies for that. But by all standards, everyone cares about this. My point that I thought was just something that Steve actually made on the show yesterday, I believe, was just that the difference, David, in the way things are treated in media. You know, conservative media is happy to cover this and to tell the good story about what a great mom this Nancy has been, and praying to find her, and no mention of her politics whatsoever, even though she was a leftist who did put public statements up against ICE. People don't mention that. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about the concern for her, David. I don't think we would have the same consideration from the other side. I just don't.
Well, I agree. And once again, we need to do the disclaimer here, which is, as you just did, Gina, this is horrible. So anybody that, all the crazy leftist media publications who watch this show and want to take what we're saying out of context, don't, because that's not what we're saying. This is horrible. Period. End. Then you move on to whether or not, from a thought experiment, would this happen if it was a conservative anchor that we're talking about? I don't think so. I think you're right. So, look, there's that element to it. To me, there's just so many unanswered questions at this point. We're hearing about there was the ring cam. One of the ring cameras was stolen. I say stolen, was missing. There were neighbors who said there were bears where she lived out in the woods. I mean, she was in a rural area, so who knows about that? Now we got this potential ransom note with Bitcoin. I mean, it's all over the place. So yeah. I don't even know what to make of it at this point, guys.
Well, we're praying for the Guthrie family. We're praying that this woman is recovered safe and sound. And there's no doubt about that. Nothing changes that. I would love to think that maybe some of the dialogue and the rhetoric could change when the situation is reversed. That's all, Terrance.
Yeah. Understood. All right, let's get to our Bible verse, and let's continue to put up prayers for Nancy Guthrie.
Numbers 6:24 through 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. I went to Catholic school. That's how they closed every single Mass when I went to Catholic schools. But I've never been Catholic, but I always thought that was a beautiful blessing. Let's bring in Georgia Congressman Andrew Clyde. Congressman, we have this deal to end this partial shutdown. Feels a bit of a Pyrrhic victory to me. I don't know. What are you feeling?
Well, good morning, y'all. Great to be on American Sunrise.
Good to have you.
Well, I'll tell you, as the speaker said, we are getting back to the path of regular order. You know, we passed 12 appropriation bills in committee. We finally got 12 appropriation bills across the House floor. Now, the Senate didn't do that. You know, they sent one back as a continuing resolution. And honestly, as a 2-week CR right now, you know, it gives ICE a little bit more money, $114 million more than the actual appropriation would have. But, you know, this is restoring muscle memory. And it's a good thing for us now. The bills are not as I would have wanted them to be. In Washington, D.C., unfortunately, you got to compromise when you have a Democrats in the Senate that are part of the solution until the Senate leader decides that it's time to go back to the talking filibuster. And I think Senator Thune, the message from us to him is loud and clear. We've got to get back to that. We have a Republican trifecta here, but yet we're allowing the Democrats to literally run the Senate. And that's unacceptable to the American people who voted for President Trump, who voted for the American First Agenda. And so my message to Senate Leader Thune is we've got to go to the talking filibuster and we have to pass the Save America Act. If that's the only thing we do this year, we've got to pass that.
Congressman, I hear you, and Speaker Johnson has also used the same term, restoring muscle memory. Is it really fair to say that you've restored muscle memory? This is one time. You're going back into another budget cycle, and I suspect many Americans expect, okay, well, we'll have more CRs even in this next budget cycle. If you're able to pass all 12 appropriation bills in this next cycle, I could see the argument of saying, okay, well, we've restored budget, we've restored kind of muscle memory because you've done it consecutively. But at this point, I think many Americans, and I will say for myself, I've got questions and concerns about whether you'll be able to do it again. Please walk me off the ledge here.
I will walk you off the ledge, Terrance. Chairman Tom Cole is absolutely committed to 12 individual appropriation bills coming out of the Appropriations Committee. I'm committed to that. I know our whole committee is committed to that. That will happen under Tom Cole's leadership, which he has been a phenomenal chairman. Under his leadership, we will certainly do that. Now, will they all get across the House floor? Well, that's up to leadership. That's up to Leader Scalise and to the Speaker. But I'm pretty confident that that will happen. Now, what I would really like to see is 12 individual bills voted on. You know, not a package of bills, not 2 or 3 together, but individual bills voted upon on the House floor, sent over to the Senate, and the Senate actually vote on 12 individual bills as well. Because if we can't get appropriations across the finish line, if we have to do another CR, continuing resolution, that basically makes the Appropriations Committee irrelevant. And that is not what's going to happen this next term.
Yeah.
Promise? Can we hold you to that?
You certainly can.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
And they will be the most conservative bills we can possibly pass with a 218-seat majority.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Fair enough.
For sure. All right, hey, Congressman, let's move on to Bill and Hillary Clinton. Sorry about that. I want to apologize for that. It's Bill and Hillary's excellent adventure, so to speak. They caved. They are now going to testify, apparently, in this Epstein probe. These depositions are set for February 26th, 27th. They're not a big fan of contempt of Congress charges. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think they will show up? Apparently, these are closed-door, transcribed interviews, and apparently the interviews will be filmed, which I think is phenomenal. I would assume that they are going to show up for this because they got a DOJ here that probably will go ahead and hold them in contempt if they don't.
Well, they've got a Congress that I believe will hold them in contempt, too, and do that in a bipartisan way, because this is a legitimate standing committee, a subpoena from the Oversight Committee, which has broad authority over all branches of government, and they're dead serious. You know, Jamie Comer is the chairman. I applaud him for pushing this and actually making it happen. But, what I don't want to see from the Clintons is a bunch of I can't remember. I can't recall. If we get a lot of that, then I hope that Jamie Comer brings them back. All right. And we actually do have a vote on the House floor to hold them in contempt because it's inexcusable. The Democrats wanted this in pushing the release of everything in the Epstein files. And we on the Republican side of the House said, hey, we are going to investigate and we are going to issue subpoenas. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. And I love to see that happen. And if it comes to the floor, it will be there. I believe there will be a positive contempt vote.
We're really out of time, but while watching these Epstein videos, reading all of the emails, I'll tell you I'm horrified. I'm even more horrified with the lack of coverage in media of what's out there. Will we see more subpoenas? Just real quickly.
I think you very well might. You might see, but that's going to be Jamie Comer's decision.
All right. Congressman Andrew Clyde, thank you for being with us this morning. Have a great day.
Thanks, Congressman.
Thank you. Great to be with you on American Sunrise.
Thanks. All right, listen, coming up, we're going to check out the hottest headlines from the RAV newsroom with Terrance Bates. Also later, more talk, but will we see action? Today is the day that another round of talks to end the Russia-Ukraine war are set to begin. What kind of progress can we expect?
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
This is built like a chicken McNugget, but
This is After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
You're a globalist. You don't care about America.
No apologies.
You're a pro-abortion when you should have been aborted.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I was recently sexually assaulted within the metaverse.
I want to vaccinate your mom.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She went to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with Alex Stein. Coming soon to Real America's Voice.
The radical left knows exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. This news break is brought to you by AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens.
New York City here on a Wednesday in February. Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. I'm David Brody. We've got a lot coming up, but right now we want to go to T. Bates because he's going to tell us whether or not ICE is going to make an appearance at the Super Bowl. Ho-ho! It's sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
Well, David, to answer your question, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, a.k.a. ICE, says that no operations are planned for Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco this weekend. The National Football League's chief security officer saying there will, however, be federal law enforcement at and around the big game.
Our Department of Homeland Security, who's been our partner for more than 20 years now, is made up of more than 20 different departments. We'll send a variety of different agencies. That does not include ICE. There is not ICE deployed with us at the Super Bowl, and I don't believe there has been in the last several. But most of the other departments, from the Coast Guard to, many other agencies, are here.
Sunday's game is designated a Tier 1 event, which is the second highest security assessment rating for a large-scale event. Concern was raised about the possibility of ICE operations when it was announced that reggaeton artist Bad Bunny would be performing at the Super Bowl halftime show. The performance will be largely, if not totally, in Spanish. In the meantime, though, check out this billboard that's up in San Francisco's Fisherman's Wharf district. It's all the buzz this morning. Apparently, we don't have that. We added it earlier this morning. It appears to show support for ICE, saying Defensive Player of the Year, ICE. There you go. That's the billboard right there. Former President Bill Clinton and his wife, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, are set to testify before Congress related to the body's ongoing investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. The former First Lady is scheduled to be deposed on February 26th. Her husband will face the House Oversight Committee the very next day. The agreement for the former first couple to testify avoids a contempt of Congress vote, which was scheduled to happen as soon as today. You may remember the House Oversight Committee voted to hold the duo in contempt after they failed to show up for their previously scheduled deposition, which was last month. Now the Clintons appear to be singing a new tune, though. The new deposition agreement comes following months of wrangling between attorneys representing the Clintons and the House Oversight Committee. President Trump losing a trusted economic advisor as Fed governor and now former chair of the White House's Council of Economic Advisors, Stephen Miron, has resigned. Miron had been on unpaid leave from the CEA since President Trump appointed him to the Fed's Board of Governors last year. He was tapped for that position following an unexpected vacancy. However, Miron's term at the Fed ended just days ago. In his resignation letter from the CEA, he reportedly wrote, and this is a quote, "I promised the Senate that if I should stay on the board past January, I would formally depart the council. I believe it's important to stay true to my word while I continue to perform the job at the Federal Reserve to which you and the Senate appointed me." While Miron's Fed term is expired, he can continue to serve in that role until a successor is confirmed by the Senate. You may remember just last week, President Trump tapped Kevin Warsh to take over as Fed chair once current Chairman Jerome Powell's term ends in May. That's a quick check of your headlines. Now let's get a quick check of your forecast. By the way, if you'd like to be the recipient of one of our hometown forecasts, go to our various social media sites, Getter, Rumble, YouTube. Let us know where you're hanging out, and maybe Tracy Anthony will choose you as one of the lucky recipients of our hometown forecast in the next hour. Let's check in with Tracy right now. Tracy, so look, I've been talking way too much about the cold over in the East Coast, even though I'm happy that you guys in Florida got a bit of a cold snap. So can we shift to the West, where it's my understanding they have literally record-setting heat? That's where I'm headed this weekend. Somebody book me a flight.
Yeah, areas like LA going to be getting to 90 degrees. So very warm, very uncomfortable. Yeah, we're talking 20, 30 degrees above average for this time of year. So oftentimes that happens. You know, when you get the cold that digs out across the east, it's usually because we have a ridge that's building out west. So record warmth will stick around for the Intermountain West through the next couple of days. So that ridge is going to stay in place. And we're talking record high temperatures all the way up to the northwest coast, so areas like Seattle could have record high temperatures. Now, the cold air will linger across the Great Lakes in the Northeast as temperatures are down in the 20s, so not too terrible, but we've got our next system that's working into the mid-Atlantic here throughout the day today. It's going to bring some rain along the Gulf Coast states and some snow for the mid-Ohio Valley. Now, the area that we really kind of have to focus on is North Carolina. They had record snow over the weekend, and now we're going to have freezing rain on top of that. So those temperatures have stayed extremely chilly. Now, Terrance, I know you said we've been talking about the cold a lot, and at Weather Nation, we got tired of talking about iguanas. So we went to find a few other videos. So we've got some manatee. This is where they kind of cluster to stay warm by the power plant. And then check this out, the rhino in Knoxville.
Okay. All right. I think I'm more partial to the manatee over the rhino, but, you know, hey, either video is cute. Which one? What's your preference? Okay, I can't just make it about me. What's your preference, rhino or manatee?
The manatee is just down the road from me, so I have to pick that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Tracy, we'll check back with you in our next hour for our hometown forecast. Always good to see you.
You too.
All right. Up next, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem says that ICE agents in Minnesota will begin wearing body cameras ASAP. Details are just moments away as we're hoping to hear from Border Czar Tom Homan at some point in time this morning. We're monitoring that. First, though, a quick look at this day in history. It was on this date in 1789 that the new United States held its very first presidential election. The Electoral College unanimously chose George Washington as president and John Adams as vice president. It marked the beginning of the American presidency and set the standard for the peaceful transfer of power in a constitutional republic. More American Sunrise coming your way in 2 minutes.
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
This is built like a chicken McNugget, but
This is After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
You're a globalist. You don't care about America.
No apologies.
You're a pro-abortion when you should have been aborted.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I was recently sexually assaulted within the metaverse.
I want to vaccinate your mom.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with Alex Stein. Coming soon to Real America's Voice.
The radical left knows exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history.
That is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, 49 degrees, by the way. A little chilly for the beach on a Wednesday in February. Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. All right, Ukraine is now saying it's going to change its negotiating stance in these talks that actually just began in Abu Dhabi today after Russia launched a massive strike overnight. President Zelensky said the assault shows Moscow does not take diplomacy seriously and demonstrates a continued commitment to war. Ukrainian negotiators' approach will be adjusted ahead of U.S. brokered peace discussions in the UAE. We will see how that develops because we're going to get some insight now to bring in Rick De La Torre, former CIA senior operations officer. He's also senior vice president of strategic risk and intelligence for Continental Strategy. Rick, thanks for being here. So, I don't know, such a broken record with Ukraine and Russia. They're going to talk about the Donbass region, but I mean, is it really even about that at this point? I know everybody talks about that, and maybe that's a sticking point. I'm not saying it isn't, but it doesn't seem to me like even if they settled that portion of it, like this is going to end anytime soon.
No, I agree. I don't think that's the case, really. Look, I'll credit. Let's give credit where credit is due. I think Trump has done a masterful job of getting these folks to the table here. But ultimately, they're the ones who are at war with each other, and we really can't do anything until either Ukraine or Russia starts making some significant and serious concessions as to what they're going to have to do to move towards peace. Ultimately, the message, though, is that the United States isn't going to be just writing a blank check anymore to Ukraine and on endless wars. And the message to Russia, too, is that we now have more significant leverage when it comes to oil, global oil markets and our ability to influence oil prices. So the United States certainly has leverage. We've gotten to the table, but Russia and Ukraine have to work this out.
Can we just end the segment there? Russia and Ukraine have got to work this thing out. Everybody else step away from the table and let the two kids just fight it out. Okay, I'm sorry for kind of projecting onto you here, but obviously I'm a little tired of that whole situation. So let's talk some domestic policy, if you will, Rick. Kristi Noem said that body cameras are going to all DHS field officers in Minneapolis. ICE agents across the country will also get cameras when the funding is available. Kristi Noem, of course, saying that all of this is in the interest of transparency. I think most reasonable people agree with the whole idea of having these ICE agents equipped with body cameras. But then there's the issue of unmasking the agents, and that seems to come down to a safety issue for the agents themselves. Love to get your perspective on all of this.
Yeah, look, I think the largest critics of police departments were the ones who kept pushing body cameras as a way of showing that police officers weren't doing their work. Many law enforcement units and around the United States have adopted those, and what they've overwhelmingly shown is that most 80-90% of the time, 95% of the time, the cops are right. And everything that they're doing. So I agree. I think transparency is key here. It'll give Americans an opportunity to put themselves in the shoes of our heroes that are dealing with these things on a day-to-day basis and get their perspective, what it's like to get hit in the head with with bricks and with frozen bottles of water, get spat on, all the horrible stuff that they do to them. So they'll have, hopefully it will clear up a lot of the misconceptions that folks have about ICE. In regards to unmasking ICE agents, sadly, there is an organized group of folks, in my opinion, funded by much larger enterprises, some foreign adversaries, that are using tactics against our law enforcement, and that is doxing them, exposing all their personal lives and materials. The church that we had protesters and Don Lemon break into. The reason why they chose that church was because one of the pastors there happened to work with ICE. So the doxing issue is real. These officers already do enough to put their lives on the line every day. We don't need that getting to their homes and to their families, their children. It's not acceptable.
Rick, I wanted to ask you about the Epstein files released recently. He has bragged a lot in videos and also in emails that were released, and even prior to that, in former emails, that he had many connections inside of the CIA. I'm curious if you can speak to that.
I'm not aware of anything like that. I had an opportunity to look through some of his files. I think it's a great case study. And someone with, a very perverse mind, serious ego and narcissistic issues, and I'm still unclear as to how he made his money. I haven't been able to figure that one out. But there's a lot of things in there that also lead me to believe that he wasn't honest, not only honest with with those in his immediate inner circle, but it seems he wasn't honest with himself, and definitely wasn't honest with a lot of the other people he did business with. So it's a huge amount of data to go through. I tend to discount people who tend to say that they have strong connections with the CIA. Usually, if you have strong connections with the CIA, you don't normally go around saying that you have strong connections with the CIA.
Yeah,
for sure.
I guess in terms of the money, I guess child trafficking, sex slave trade is lucrative, David.
Yeah, I'd like to see people in handcuffs for that one.
I really would too.
Amen.
Well, Rick, thanks for being here. The CIA's taped all this. They'll be sending it to your home shortly. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Rick.
Have a great morning.
All right. You too. Coming up, a new front on the fight against cancer on World Cancer Day. In moments, how the UK is taking bold steps in the way they research the king of all maladies. That story when we come back.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAV Angel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAV Angel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
It's a little bit of a murky day in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. But that's okay because we're bringing the sunshine. Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thanks for joining us. It is time now for today's health news, sponsored by the Wellness Company. And under the microscope, on World Cancer Day, expanded access to clinical cancer trials in the UK. The government there announcing new steps to give patients with rare cancers greater access to breakthrough clinical trials. Now, under the plan, patients will be able to find and sign up for trials more easily, including digital NHS services, helping them access potentially life-saving treatments in National Health System. That's what NHS, I'm presuming, stands for. Officials say the changes will speed up research, improve survival rate, and ensure people with rare and hard-to-treat cancers are no longer left behind. Some of those changes are happening here as well. We certainly need more of them. There are doctors and scientists claiming to have cancer cures across the board that people don't have access to. And let me add, animals don't have access to either. Why not let animal owners have access to those cancer cures as a means of bringing them to human trials? That's my question. But you know what? Common sense doesn't work very often in government. Today is not only World Cancer Day, but February is National Cancer Prevention Awareness Month. Now more than ever, we want to be asking what each of us can do to lower our chances of getting cancer. And if you or a loved one is battling cancer, we want to make sure that no stone is left unturned in the effort to stay healthy. 1 in 3 of us will have cancer in our lifetime at this point. At least that's the projections they make, and we don't know how they make them. But that's where the Wellness Company comes in. You know the Wellness Company. We have their great doctors like Dr. Kelly Victory and Dr. Peter McCullough on all the time. The Wellness Company and their doctors, they're medical professionals. You can trust them. The Wellness Company is committed to providing safe, low-cost alternatives to big pharma's bear grip on your medical life. From ivermectin to methylene blue, their fantastic new product called Shield, and so much more. The Wellness Company is going to give you the opportunity to make sure the promise of MAHA is a reality for you. This February, let's take control of our health. Go to twc.health/RAV today. Give it an order. That's twc.health/RAV. Use the promo code RAV. That'll save you 10%. Prepare right now. Don't wait. Let's send it over to Terrance Bates. That rhymed. Did you hear that? Prepare now.
That did rhyme. That was pretty good, Dr.
Send
Gina.
it over.
Dr. G, the rapper. I like it. Hey, Dr. G, don't go far because we're sticking in your state of Florida where Governor Ron DeSantis sounding the alarm for Republicans after a surprise special election loss in Texas. DeSantis says the double-digit defeat in a district that was long held by the GOP may signal trouble for the party ahead of the upcoming midterms this November. Republican Lee Wamsgans, who was endorsed by President Trump, lost by about 14 points to Democrat Taylor Remitt in a district that President Trump had won by 17 points just in 2024. It's a result that Ron DeSantis says can't be dismissed. For more, let's bring in Miami GOP committee woman Angie Wong. Dr. Gina also joining the conversation. Angie, good morning to you. Welcome. What do you make of what happened there in Texas? And I think the bigger question is Republicans probably should be on alert. And so being on alert, what issues does that mean that they're pushing to the public in terms of trying to win back a majority in November?
Yeah, no, this is significant. This is Texas. This is a Republican Texas. And for the Democrat to win by 14 points, we all have to be sitting up a little, straighter today. Special elections are not great for Republicans anyway. We saw the loss in Miami, where I'm from, with our mayoral race. And we all kind of, looked at each other like, what are we going to do about this? Because we are in midterm season right now, and we only have a few short months to get this right, to make sure that November is not going to be a losing streak for us. Democrats seem to think that they have a big win in a state Senate seat, but the realities are that these are seats that we can gain back. These are just special elections. There's going to be the real election come November. We're going to make sure that our candidates are strong, that we're well financed, and we should definitely take this moment, pause, and regroup, because the one thing we don't know how to do is to get into those cities. Democrats know how to do the high rises. They know how to do the buildings. We need to really gain a stronghold in that and turn out our voters.
But it's interesting, Angie, because polling out this weekend suggests that voters actually trust Republicans more on key issues such as national security, on health care, on safety, and other issues like that. So it's surprising to me that this happened in Texas. And I want to know if there's a little more to it. Did we have, because I know that the Republican far outspent the Democrat. So there's that. The money rolled in, of course, once President Trump gave his endorsement of that Republican candidate there. But was there just a difference in candidate quality? Because sometimes you just get somebody who's really good. And I want to say this guy that won in Texas, he looked like the guy next door to me in the Ozarks. Like, he looked down home. He looked real. Did he run kind of as a pseudo-Republican? And he's probably going to be leftist once he gets in there. Tell us the nitty-gritty on this.
Yeah, no, they have this down to a formula. There's two things that I see happening. One, I think you just mentioned it. We have a messaging issue. We are completely right on all the policies. Americans agree with the President Trump America First agenda and everything down the line. But we're not getting the messaging across for some reason. So we have to look at that. The other thing is the candidate quality is really interesting to me, that we are moving towards a much more homier look versus a very kind of refined, suited up politician.
Thank God. A little authenticity. Oh.
Yes.
Sorry, Angie, go ahead.
Maybe that's what it is. Voters need to feel like they're, being talked to by a real person versus a suit. So, we have to look at all those things and make those adjustments and those calculations. We have candidates running here in Miami. They look like they just woke up and smeared a piece of, a slice of pizza on their shirt, and they go out and campaigning, and they're getting like all the eyeballs. It's really amazing to me. It is the Zoran Mondani effect, and they know how to do the algorithms on social media. They know exactly what topics to talk about on that particular day that talks to the people and gets the most viral hits. We're not doing the same exact thing. We need to learn that game and own that game.
Yeah. Sorry, Terrance, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dr. G. No, go ahead. I yield.
I was just going to say,
okay.
It seems to me like Republicans can't get over the way that they won elections in the Bush era. We need to move beyond that, Terrance.
Yeah, and I was going to kind of follow up on that, because what I'm hearing, Angie, is that it's not a platform issue, it's a candidate issue, and finding candidates that are really able to appeal to their specific community.
And that's always the case, but we just played it so straight. We need to kind of go in the fringes now. We need to go in the peripherals now and look at real candidates that represent the new Republican Party, right? We need to look at everyone who's just joined the Republican Party that we've pulled from the left, from the center, and all over the place. You know, and they need to be represented. They need to feel that they're represented by the Republican Party. We need to do a better job at that versus just going the same down the same road, same pathway as always. And that's how we're going to expand the party, because the numbers are there, the messaging is there, and as Dr. Gina said, the money is there. So where are we missing? What's missing here?
Yeah. And you make such a great point, Angie. The new Republican Party, although it's not even really a very new Republican Party, it's just newer than Bush. But you and I met back in the Tea Party days, and that's where this was all born. And nothing has changed since then in terms of the voters' minds. So, Angie, it's so great to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you. Good morning.
All right, coming up, countdown to Super Bowl Sunday, if you're into it. And the NFL is on the defense for their choice of halftime performer Bad Bunny. I don't even know who that is. I'm not going to lie. I'm not even going to pretend. I have no clue, and I don't care. We have details next as American Sunrise continues.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Welcome back. Coffee pods are easy, but most of them are just caffeine and nothing else. Rejuvenate pods are built differently. They're clean pods infused with CAAKG, a compound linked to longevity, metabolism, and deep cellular energy. It's the easiest way to get better focus, smoother energy, and long-term benefits without changing your routine. I choose them because they match the lifestyle I want. More energy, more clarity, and more intention in how I start my day. If you're going to drink coffee anyway, make it one that actually supports the life you're building. Head to 1775coffee.com/RAV and try Rejuvenate Pods today. Don't just drink coffee, rejuvenate. All right, now that we are caffeinated, it's time to stay awake, not woke. And in focus today, the Super Bowl halftime show. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell says he believes the halftime performer Bad Bunny understands the platform is meant to unite fans, even amid backlash over his criticism of ICE. Goodell says he expects Bad Bunny's performance to bring people together rather than deliver political messages. The decision comes as conservative critics have pushed back on the selection, but the NFL is standing by its choice ahead of the big game this Sunday in California. Let's bring in Terrance, Dr. Gina, and David. Terrance, want to get your take on this. I had a chance to watch the Grammys and must admit what he had to say about ICE wasn't anywhere near as bad as Billie Eilish and some other people up on the stage. So it's going to be interesting to see if he turns this into a political spectacle at the Super Bowl. I hope he just sticks to the music.
Okay, that's not going to happen. Dr. Gina and David, go ahead and take these next 3 minutes and 43 seconds off, because I got a whole lot to say on this.
You go,
two.
T.
So look, from Roger Goodell's standpoint, BS on the whole. Oh, I hope he doesn't use this as a political platform. We all know that Bad Bunny is going to use this to make some sort of political statement, and it's going to be an anti-ICE statement. We all know that. So Roger Goodell, you're being disingenuous saying that you hope that's not going to happen, because you already know. From Roger Goodell's standpoint, and from the NFL standpoint, choosing Bad Bunny is about business. Roger Goodell is in the business of growing the NFL, making it a larger global property, a larger global commodity. And so by bringing in Bad Bunny, he realizes that he's going to bring in more Latin nations, more Latin fans who hopefully will be watching the Super Bowl, and that hopefully will, from Roger Goodell's standpoint, the NFL standpoint, will bring in more money to the league. This is about money. This is about broadening the appeal of the NFL. And we have seen that with the NFL taking games outside of this country. The NFL has played games in Brazil. The NFL has played games in London. The NFL has played games in Germany. That's what this is about. This is about broadening the appeal of the NFL, trying to make the game a more global game, and Bad Bunny is a way that the NFL sees in order to do that, David. That's just how I see it. This is about money, plain and simple.
You are 100% spot on. And look, Bad Bunny is going to be a very bad bunny. I don't think there's any question about it on Sunday. There's no doubt that'll happen. But why can't we just make it about, as Emily said, the music? You know, truth be told, I've gone to a club or two. Okay, maybe not a club. I'm now embellishing. But I do enjoy a reggaeton at times, whether it be Daddy Yankee or Big Bunny or Bad Bunny or whatever his name is, and Prince Royce and all that good stuff. So bottom line is, keep it about the music. That's it. All right. Did I just say Big Bunny, Gina? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Big Bad Bunny Foo-Foo. Remember that song?
What am I doing?
Little Bunny Foo-Foo.
Oh, yeah.
That's about all I have to say about
Sherry Lewis. That's Sherry Lewis. Little Bunny Foo-Foo.
I just know my mom used to sing that to me, and I hated that song. Hated it.
I will just make the argument that in recent years, there's always been some sort of statement that's been part of the halftime shows, either overt or even a subliminal, but that's also part of the show, that the performers make some sort of statement, be it political, social, whatever. So that's to be expected. But again, when it comes to Bad Bunny, from my perspective, this is all about broadening the appeal of the NFL, and Roger Goodell and the NFL is simply trying to cash in on a performer's global appeal. And Bad Bunny has that, whether you like him or not. And as consumers, we can choose not to watch the halftime show or not to watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think this
Bunny Foo-Foo.
Bunny Foo-Foo, I think, is going to backfire on the NFL. But there are going to be some alternatives. I'll be tuning into the Turning Point USA halftime show. I think that's going to be way more entertaining than anything that Bad Bunny is going to do at the Super Bowl. So we got that
Kid Rock,
up on the screen
Kid
right
Rock?
now. The countdown is on to the Turning Point halftime show. We also do have another quick programming note. Real America's Voice has launched a new must-see show this week at 11 p.m. Eastern. It's called After Hours with Alex Stein, and you don't want to miss it. Take a look at this preview.
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
This is built like a chicken McNugget, but
This is After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
You're a globalist. You don't care about America.
No apologies.
You're a pro-abortion when you should have been aborted.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I was recently sexually assaulted within the metaverse.
I want to vaccinate your mom.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
Cut your penis off, Max.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with Alex Stein. Coming soon to Real America's Voice.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAV Angel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAV Angel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
God bless the USA.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. Time now for our moment of faith that's brought to us by Lee Greenwood and the God Bless the USA Bible. All right, in focus today, the Super Bowl. As America gears up for the big game, two of the biggest names on the field aren't just talking football, they're praising God. Patriots quarterback Drake May and Seahawks star Jackson Smith and Jigba both thanked the good Lord after leading their teams to the championship game, crediting their success to faith and not just talent. May said, quote, "I thank the good Lord," and Smith and Jigba declared, quote, "all glory to God." And by the way, he went on to say, after all glory to God, win or lose, he said, all glory to God, making it clear their beliefs shape their lives on and off the field. It's an era where many downplay faith, but these athletes are openly proclaiming it, a reminder that Americans still turn to God in victory and adversity. Let's bring in our resident NFL expert, Dr. G, and T. Bates, to discuss this. Okay, so maybe, G, you're not going to give us your analysis of the game, because I like to know kind of the betting line and what you see in terms of the secondary for the Patriots. But beyond all of that, I am curious about the God aspect of all this, because Gina, to me, I mean, we always hear, we do hear the players say, just want to thank the Lord, which is great. But how about I would love to hear the losing team in the locker room say, listen, we lost the Super Bowl in a last-second play, but I just want to thank the Lord because he is awesome. Because you know what? He is awesome, win or lose.
That's such a great point, David. I don't know that I've ever really heard that before. It's amazing. I'm not an NFL fan. I make no secret of that. I wasn't a huge NFL. I was a football cheerleader, so I really do appreciate the game. But I stopped watching the NFL when they went woke. I can't watch the sports channels because they're woke, and so I just gave up. Now, having said that, I love SEC. I love Alabama. Roll Tide. But that's where it ends for me. And a lot of the things you're saying are exactly the reason why, David, because it tends to end up being about the worship of a person or the worship of a team. And I can't help, I watch the fandom, and I think this isn't about values or even culture. It becomes about a person worship, and that part makes me sick. If I could see the bodies in the pews doing the same level of worship for Jesus, I would feel a lot better watching football. But as a result, I don't. Now, having said that, I have kids that are big football fans. I'm sure the Super Bowl will be on at my house, and I'll be annoyed, Terrance.
I'll be annoyed. T. Bates, are you there?
Oh, no.
We don't hear you. T. Bates.
They shut him down because he had too much to say.
Now we hear you.
Now
Sorry.
we hear you. There you are.
Okay. All right. So, look, just very quickly, the NFL is just a microcosm of greater society. And so, to the point of all you want to hear people profess their love for God, even in losses, I hear you. I agree with you. But do we do that in regular life? Say a family member has cancer. We ask God, please heal them. But do we say, God, no matter what, I thank you, I love you, I appreciate you? Probably not. Most of us aren't that mature in our spirituality.
Most of my friends would.
Let's just be honest.
I mean, most of my friends would. David Brody certainly did. He said, I remember the day his daughter got cancer, he texted me, God is good all the time.
All right, well, then most of my friends apparently are a little less mature than both of you guys, just to be honest. But having said even that, one of the things you do typically see at NFL games is at the end of the game, both teams will go to midfield or go huddle somewhere and pray. So I think spirituality in the NFL and in sports in general isn't necessarily isn't unique. I think it does happen, and I'll have to work on finding more spiritually mature friends, apparently.
Yeah, and by the way, you say spirituality, but to be clear, it's all about Jesus. It's not about spirituality. Not that you're saying that, T.B. I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm just making the point that it's about Jesus. It's not about the man upstairs. It's not about the universe. It's not about that. There's only one way to get to heaven, and it's in belief in Jesus Christ.
Agreed.
It's a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. That's the only way you're getting to heaven, and that's the truth.
But
and we're back with the second hour.
You're right.
Yes,
but Terrance,
please.
you did say that one of your friends is helping you with some diet tips. And there was some really thoughtful, I thought, loving diet tips. I think you have good friends. I'm just saying.
Loving diet I definitely have good friends. We all have some work to do, but yes, we got to go.
We all have work to do.
All right. We are going to Anchor Jail. Back in a moment.
Introducing the limited edition God Bless the USA Bible, inspired by Lee Greenwood's hit song and the most recognized patriotic anthem in America, God Bless the USA. The God Bless the USA large print leather-bound King James Bible also contains America's founding documents, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance, along with a handwritten chorus to Lee Greenwood's song, God Bless the USA. With its large print and slim design, this Bible invites you to explore God's Word anywhere, anytime. The God Bless the USA Bible makes the perfect gift and cherished family heirloom keepsake to pass on to future generations. Designed for an easy reading experience in the trusted King James Version translation, this large print Bible is perfect to take to church, Bible study, work, and for traveling. Order yours today at GodBlessTheUSABible.com.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Buckle up and get ready for the second hour of American Sunrise. President Trump signs a funding deal that keeps most of the government open. However, the deal has once again set another showdown over Homeland Security funding, and it's going to last potentially a week and a half at this point. We'll have the very latest coming up in just a moment. Plus, talks between the United States and Iran are set to continue after U.S. Central Command reports that shooting down an Iranian drone. The drone reportedly approached a U.S. aircraft carrier before a fighter jet shot it out of the sky. We'll have the very latest developments straight ahead. And then later, the GOP continues to gain momentum on key issues as we inch closer to this year's midterm elections. A new poll out this morning shows that likely midterm voters strongly back Republicans on issues like deportations and immigration enforcement. We'll talk about it coming up. Those stories and so much more right now on this second hour of American Sunrise.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrance.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second hour of American Sunrise. I'm David Brody, coming to you from D.C. Let's bring in Dr. G. She's in West Palm. T. Bates in our Denver newsroom for the top of our second hour. Good morning to both of you. Hey, so a lot of breaking news this hour. Seems like it's been breaking news ever since President Trump got into that second term of his. But we got the Department of State. Marco Rubio is actually about to speak at this minerals conference. Well, let's listen in for a little bit. J.D. Vance also expected to speak.
On a topic that I think we've been talking about quite a bit over the last year and a half, of great importance to all of our nations, and we're very honored that all of you would join us here today. We have a great agenda and a lot of work ahead. This is an issue of incredible importance to this administration, and it's one of the top priorities of this administration. And I think it's a top priority for the world, and that is how to diversify our supply chains, how to diversify our access to critical minerals to ensure that they are secure and safe. And we'll have more to say about that later on today. But we wanted to begin today by demonstrating to you the high level of engagement and interest on the part of this administration on this topic by hearing from the Vice President, who himself has taken a personal role in being a leader on this front. And so with no further ado, I'd like to introduce my good friend and a very excellent person who's doing an incredible job in the role he's playing in this administration, the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you all for being here. We're honored by the presence of so many world leaders, and it speaks to the importance of what Secretary Rubio and the team are working on to fix this critical minerals issue. And I just wanted to let you know that we're honored by your presence and certainly grateful for you coming to Washington for this very important conversation. I know there are a lot of very important discussions to be had over the rest of the day, and so I want to be relatively brief. First, let me say thanks to our incredible Secretary of State for putting this group together. Marco's doing an incredible job. And when he asked me to come and speak today, I said, man, this is your building. Why don't you come and give a speech? And he said, well, because I've got 5 jobs and you've only got 1. And so I figured I might as well do Marco a solid, since he's also the archivist and the official White House florist and has a number of other jobs in addition to Secretary of State. So I'd kick us off, and then he's going to take the reins from here. But let me just say a few things about what we're doing and why this matters. So I remember after our very wildly successful military operation in Venezuela, the President of the United States was talking with me and Marco and some of the other senior members of the cabinet, and he was talking just about how important it was that we ensured that the global economy had access to oil and gas many years in the future. And that, of course, is one of the reasons why we're interested in Venezuela, is because it has such a critical importance in this all-important resource called oil. And as much as we talk about the modern economy, the digital economy, the high-tech economy, the president said something that was very, very important and I think should inform a lot of how we think about future growth, which is that as much as data centers and technology and all of these incredible things that we're all working on matter, fundamentally, you still have an economy that runs on real things. And there is no realer thing than oil. And I would add to that, there's no realer thing than critical minerals. And I think a lot of us have learned the hard way in some ways over the last year how much our economies depend on these critical minerals. So every man and woman, I believe, in this room understands what we're confronting together today. And I say together, and that is very much something that is at the heart of Secretary Rubio's initiative, and as he said, at the heart of what we're trying to do all across the administration, is recognize that this is something where our alliances and our friendships can really help one another. We're all on the same team. We're all rowing in the same direction. I believe that in this room, we have close to 2/3 of the world's GDP represented. And so we have the capacity to make ourselves more independent, more self-reliant, and that's what we should be doing. Now, we know that today, the international market for critical minerals is failing. It's failing to create domestic markets or dignified jobs for our labor forces, and it's failing to keep our nation safe. Supply chains remain brittle and exceptionally concentrated. Asset and commodity prices are persistently depressed, driven downward by forces beyond any individual country's control. Now, how many times cumulatively have one of us or many of us in this room heard some variation of the story that I'm about to tell? A lithium mine, a gallium recovery center, you name it, is announced, sometimes with years in planning and financing nearly in place. Then overnight, foreign supply floods the market, the prices collapse, and investors pull out. The project stalls, and eventually the project dies on the vine. We've all seen it firsthand in all of our countries. And the result is a global market where consistent investment is nearly impossible, and it will stay that way so long as prices are erratic and unpredictable. And that's one of the things that we want to work on with this initiative. Let's make the prices more predictable and less erratic so that we can support the domestic supply chains and the investment that makes those supply chains possible. Now, across Europe, North America, there are dozens of mining and processing initiatives that have been suspended or completely abandoned because sustained price weakness makes financing impossible. Time after time, advanced economies with deep capital markets are finding that projects cannot clear costs. The same story plays out elsewhere around the world. In resource-rich developing economies, only a tiny fraction of global mining investment, including from nations, many of them in this room, is reaching the point of actual projects. We plan, we think about it, we even invest a little bit of money, we do the regulatory work, but so many of them die on the vine. Now, everyone knows that these deposits exist. We've mapped a whole lot of them, and we know they're ready to be mined and processed. But capital can't reach them so long as investors lack confidence that those markets are going to remain stable for long enough to justify the long-term commitment. That is the problem that we confront. And even here in the United States, even with all the incredible things that President Trump and the entire administration has done to eliminate permits, to open up the regulatory environment, we have private financing that we've secured, but even in some cases, even in the United States, some of these projects are struggling to attract investors. We see telltale signs of a market distorted beyond recognition, one that punishes strategic investment, one that punishes diversification, and one that punishes long-term planning. This is crazy. We should have the kind of global markets, the kind of domestic markets that reward long-term planning, that reward strategic thinking, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. I think every single one of us represented in this room has become dependent on arrangements we did not choose, and right now, arrangements that we cannot control. We all face the same vulnerability. Access to the things that protect our people and sustain our way of life. Everything from missile defense systems to energy infrastructure to advanced manufacturing to emerging technologies. The fundamental supply chains that support these industries sometimes can vanish in the blink of an eye without any control or influence from many of the countries in this room. And we in the Trump administration believe it is the business of the government, of the people's government elected just over a year ago, to confront such problems, and that we want to confront them together. And I think that you're all here, at least I hope you're all here, because you all feel the exact same way. Now, our administration came into office last January, barely a year ago, with a clear mandate to reindustrialize the United States of America and return American workers to the center of our economic policy. And that is what we are doing. And I want to tell you just a little story about one of the very first meetings I had with our Secretary of Commerce and the Secretary of the Treasury, two great people, two great business leaders. And I remember saying, look, we have our views of the Biden administration. We're not particularly fans, as you may have guessed. But setting that to the side, surely the Biden administration put together a list of the critical industries, the critical technologies, the critical manufacturing facilities that are supported by these rare earth minerals, these critical minerals. We may think it's bad work. We may think the people who put it together weren't particularly wise, but surely that gives us some foundation to build on. And I was shocked when our Secretary of the Commerce and Secretary of the Treasury came back to me and said, actually, we have never done this. In the last 4 years, the Biden administration never sat down and tried to understand what are the critical deficiencies in world supply chains. That's crazy. It's insane that we ever got to this point, but in just 1 year, the President of the United States has struck dozens of deals to fix that problem. Domestic and foreign producers are both included in this, and we're trying to ensure durable, end-to-end supply chains for our country, but also for many of our friends. We've mobilized public financing tools at an unprecedented scale, providing up to $100 billion in lending authority for critical minerals to the Office of Strategic Capital. Marco's now a venture capitalist, too. He's got many jobs. We've overturned old orthodoxies and taken direct stakes in high-value mining and processing companies. The United States had not built a primary smelter in this country since 1980, before I was born, 4 years before I was born. And on Monday, the Trump administration announced Project Vault, America's first ever domestic critical minerals stockpile. With these moves, we intend to build an ironclad network of new industrial supply chains to span the entire nation. We're going to create good-paying jobs, skilled jobs for the American labor force, and those people, those great workers, are going to be securing a new era of prosperity for American families, and I believe for many people all over the world. But we seek to make sure our friends and our allies are part of this and that you all are covered as well. Our goal here, and the reason why we're doing this conference, is to align trade policy, development finance, and diplomatic engagement towards a shared strategic objective. And that objective is very simple: diversifying global supply in the critical minerals market while strengthening the partner countries who help all of us in this shared effort. Over the past year, our administration has signed agreements. We have launched many joint initiatives, and we have committed extensive resources with many of you in this room, with many governments, and our work extends across disparate regions and all stages of the value chain. We've convened this ministerial in an effort to accelerate that shared work. So this morning, the Trump administration is proposing a concrete mechanism to return the global critical minerals market to a healthier, more competitive state. A preferential trade zone for critical minerals protected from external disruptions through enforceable price floors. We will establish reference prices for critical minerals at each stage of production, pricing that reflects real-world fair market value. And for members of the preferential zone, these reference prices will operate as a floor, maintained through adjustable tariffs to uphold pricing integrity. We want to eliminate that problem of people flooding into our markets with cheap critical minerals to undercut our domestic manufacturers, because we know, of course, that as soon as they've undercut our domestic makers, the domestic markers, they leave the market, and the people who undercut them then jack up the price to a completely unfair level. We're going to fix that problem. Together, we want members to form a trading bloc among allies and partners, one that guarantees American access to American industrial might while also expanding production across the entire zone. The benefits will be immediate and durable. Regardless of how much material flows into the global market, prices within the preferential trade zone will remain consistent. Over time, our goal within that zone is to create diverse centers of production, stable investment conditions, and supply chains that are immune to the kind of external disruptions that we've already talked about. For those of you who join, we offer you a necessary foundation for private financing and secure access to the critical mineral supplies your nation would require in an emergency or some other contingency. By regulating imports to preserve free and fair competition within the preferential trading zone, we will elevate our nation's miners and refiners, our investors and our producers alike. We are all on the same team, and we need to create the economic incentives that reward people for investing and building in our countries. Membership will be vital for developing economies seeking to expand mining capacity. And it'll be just as important for the advanced economies that rely on these materials to sustain their advanced industries, to sustain their growth and security. And I want to be clear with every person in this room. While we believe America's market is large enough to create its own critical minerals trading zone, this entire effort will be stronger and far more competitive if we build it together. So I'm pleased that so many of you here today have already signed on to this plan. Some of you have not. And for those not yet there, we hope that today's discussions will encourage you to finalize those agreements as quickly as possible. Now, I know you're going to be hearing from a lot of others in our administration, including our great Secretary of Rubio, I think really the greatest Secretary of State the United States has ever had, and other senior administrators in our team. And I know that Ambassador Greer, our great trade representative, will present further specifics about what he'll be negotiating, what we're calling the Agreement on Trade and Critical Minerals. Knowing Jameson, I know it will be a very productive session, and I know it will be a very detailed session. As all of you who know Jameson well, he is a guy who gets into the details because he knows that that's where the substance of an agreement can really be made. So I want to close, but before I do, let me just reiterate. We here, I think all of us, are friends. We've all spent many years describing this problem. Before I was ever in politics, I would hear politicians and global leaders talk about this problem. For too many of those years, we talked about it, but we refused to actually solve it. The framework before us is a change. It is a practical and enforceable approach to solving the problem, not just complaining about it. Many of you have helped us design it, and we're, of course, constructing it together in real time. So to those of you still on the fence, I say, let's move together. Before you is a chance to lead, to secure your nation's ability to build, to produce, to defend itself. What is before all of us is an opportunity at self-reliance, that we never have to rely on anybody else except for each other for the critical minerals necessary to sustain our industries and to sustain growth. So I propose that we come together and we shape a market worthy of the great men and women of our countries who depend on that market. Again, I want to thank you all for being here. I'm honored by your presence. The President sends his very best regards, and I look forward to everything that we're going to accomplish together. God bless you all and have fun today.
It's already a very busy morning for the Trump administration. You just heard Vice President J.D. Vance talking about some of the administration's latest trade deals and ambitions. Want to take you now to Minneapolis, where Border Czar Tom Homan also speaking this morning. Here's some of his thoughts and remarks.
I'm Tom Homan. I'm the Border Czar, President Trump. I'm here with Sam Olson, Field Office Director for the St. Paul office, and Ron Patello, Senior Advisor to the Commissioner of Customs and Border Protection, Border Patrol. Us three guys got just shy of 100 years in law enforcement, immigration enforcement. I've worked with Ron 30 years ago in Dallas, Texas. He's been with the Border Patrol's entire career. During my press conference last week, I reported I had productive discussions with various state and local officials, including Governor, Attorney General, Mayor Fry, and law enforcement officials about increasing coordination in a lawful way between the county jails and ICE to avoid public safety threats being released back in the community. While we had our differences, one thing was clear: we all committed to public safety for all who live in the Twin Cities. We have made significant progress under the direction of President Trump, working with state and local officials here in Minnesota, and I expect that to increase in the coming weeks. We continue to have discussions. I'll have discussions this afternoon. We currently have an unprecedented number of counties communicating with us now and allowing ICE to take custody of illegal aliens before they hit the streets. Unprecedented cooperation. And I'll say it again. This is efficient, requires only 1 or 2 officers to assume custody of a criminal alien target rather than 8 or 10 officers going into the community and arresting that public safety threat. This frees up more officers to arrest or remove criminal aliens. More officers taking custody of criminal aliens directly from the jails means less officers on the street doing criminal operations. This is smart law enforcement, not less law enforcement. It's safer for the community, safer for the officers, and safer for the alien. This coordination also makes it far more safe for the Twin Cities. Arresting a public safety threat in the safety and security of a jail is the safest thing we could do. Further, less public safety risks are being released back into the communities, reduces recidivism, so local law enforcement can direct their limited resources to other public safety matters in their community. This is another priority of President Trump. The state prisons already cooperate with ICE on this coordinated transfer of custody, and we thank them for that partnership, and we plan to do more with them. I also want to reiterate and emphasize we are not requiring jails to hold people past their normal release time for immigration purposes. We're not asking anyone to be an immigration officer. We are not asking any state or local official to do immigration enforcement activity. They are not. By merely notifying us before they release them, they don't hold them 1 minute past they normally would. Given this increase in unprecedented collaboration, and as a result of the need for less law enforcement officers to do this work in a safer environment, I have announced effective immediately, we will draw down 700 people effective today. 700 law enforcement personnel. We have also fully integrated CBP personnel into the ICRO team structure under one unified chain of command. Not 2 chains of command, there'd be 1 chain of command here. Any large enforcement operation I've ever been involved with, there's 1 chain of command, and that's where we're moving forward. During my press conference last week, I announced that moving forward, ICE will be conducting targeted immigration enforcement operations. like ICE has traditionally done for decades, based on reasonable suspicion to question and detain. ICE will conduct these operations and transnational criminal organization investigations with a focus on national security and public safety. I want to be clear. Just because you prioritize public safety threats don't mean we forget about everybody else. We will continue to enforce the immigration laws in this country. To help execute this, we have developed and implemented a multi-agency surge task force with an operational framework that clarifies lines of effort, integrated enforcement, investigative and special response efforts. A unified joint operations center has been established to manage all operations and ensure efforts align with priorities of the mission. This reorganization also enables ICE to leverage joint intelligence capabilities to effectively target threats, as well as to reduce the overall personnel footprint and enhance public safety and confidence in the agency's capabilities and presence here. I've also ensured that officials from legal internal affairs offices remain on the ground as long as this operation continues. During our efforts to identify and implement improvements of how operations are planned, conducted, and managed, we identified a gap in regard to the use of body-worn cameras. And this was actually raised by the workforce when I started walking around talking to people here. Some officers and agents had them, some didn't. That inconsistency was unacceptable, so we moved immediately to prioritize full body cam deployment in the city. I discussed this with Secretary Noem a couple of days ago, and she made the decision to deploy them. The plan is to deploy them nationwide, but it's a priority for the city right now. There's actually $20 million in the spending bill to further fund the deployment of body cameras. The president is supportive of this decision because we have nothing to hide. We want to be fully transparent in what we do. The American people seek and deserve professional and trustworthy law enforcement, and I and the president expect that any misconduct will not be tolerated and will be swiftly addressed. The integration, structuring, and resources we have implemented will help ensure accountability and that targeted enforcement operations have a focus on national security threats and public safety threats, and they are conducted effectively, safely, and appropriately. Again, this is smarter enforcement, not less enforcement. For those who are not a national security threat or public safety risk, you are not exempt from immigration enforcement actions. If you're in the country illegally, you are not off the table. And let me be clear, President Trump fully intends to achieve mass deportations during this administration, and immigration enforcement actions will continue every day throughout this country. President Trump made a promise, and we have not directed otherwise. I heard rumors we have, untrue. Given that many public safety threats on our communities, many of which poured across the border during the Biden administration, it makes sense to prioritize public safety risks right now. Again, prioritization doesn't mean you forget about everybody else. But we have a criminal here, a non-criminal here. The criminal has to be arrested first because they're the biggest threat to the community. My goal with the support of President Trump is to achieve a complete drawdown and end this surge as soon as we can. But that is largely contingent upon the end of the illegal and threatening activities against ICE and its federal partners that we're seeing in the community. We will not draw down on personnel providing security for our officers. I will not let our officers be put at risk. So we will not draw down on personnel providing security and responding to hostile incidents until we see a change in what's happening with the lawlessness of the impeding and interfering and assaulting of ICE and Border Patrol officers. It is against the law to forcibly assault, resist, oppose, impede, intimidate, and interfere with federal law enforcement, including ICE officers and Border Patrol agents. Doxing law enforcement to threaten them and their families because they're executing their sworn duties to enforce immigration law that Congress passed is unacceptable. And it's shameful and incomprehensible to me that this unlawful and threatening behavior is being tolerated by anyone. As far as what I saw yesterday, the roadblocks being set up, you're not going to stop ICE. You're not going to stop Border Patrol. The only thing you're doing is irritating your community and want to go get groceries or pick their children up or whatever. I talked to the chief of police, and he committed to taking swift action on those illegal roadblocks. They're illegal. We shouldn't tolerate them. Again, a complete drawdown is going to depend on cooperation, continued cooperation of local and state law enforcement, and the decrease of the violence, the rhetoric, and the attacks against ICE and Border Patrol. The federal law enforcement personnel, ICE and CBP, and other partner agencies are patriots. And they've carried out their duties patriotically, with integrity, with professionalism, and compassion. I've said this many times, these men and women don't hang their heart on the hook when they come to work. President Trump and I strongly stand with them in the critical work they do to prevent harmful or otherwise dangerous people from entering or remaining in this country. As part of the surge operation here, numerous criminal aliens have already been arrested. We've arrested 14 people who had homicide convictions, 139 people with sex-related offenses, 28 gang members. Correct me, 139 assault convictions, 87 sex offenses, 28 gang members have been arrested, just to name a few. We're taking a lot of bad people off the street. Everybody should be grateful to that. Who in their right mind would want these dangerous criminals walking around their communities? Everyone has a constitutional right to peacefully protest. President Trump and I, we completely support that. At the same time, professional law enforcement officers should and need to be able to perform their sworn duties without being harassed, impeded, or assaulted. I want anyone to report instances of alleged misconduct or wrongdoing. There's a way to report that. The Trump administration is taking violations of 18 U.S.C. 111, which is assaulting, impeding, interfering. We're taking that seriously. If you violate the law, you will be federally prosecuted. In the past month, 158 people have been arrested for violation of 111. 85 cases have been already accepted for prosecutions. The rest remain pending. We've had 9 indictments of those who raided the church, and additional cases are being worked. Additionally, I've been saying this for almost a year now. Hateful, extreme rhetoric against ICE personnel is completely unacceptable. Please stop. I said back in March of this year, if the hateful rhetoric didn't stop, I was afraid there would be bloodshed. And there has been. President Trump and I, Secretary Noem, none of us want to see any bloodshed. It is no doubt encouraging and inciting certain people to violate the law, wanting to harm, and actually harm law enforcement, and their families, is unacceptable. I want to say I appreciate the discussions had with the governor, Mayor Frey, and the Attorney General. We've had frank, honest discussions. We don't agree on everything, but we do agree on the need for public safety. And we do agree that ICE has a role to enforce the immigration laws of this country. I would implore the governor and the AG, the mayor, and other political officials to urge in the most strong and urgent way to ask for calm in the community and to end the resistance, the impediment, the interference, again, protest. Stop impeding, stop interfering, stop violating the law, because we will arrest you. In closing, President Trump and I would like to thank the men and women of ICE, Border Patrol, and other federal agencies on the ground here for your dedication to the oath you swore to enforce the federal laws and promote public safety through the work you do. That hasn't been easy. I know the sacrifices you made. I know the sacrifices your families make. I know your families worry about you every day. I know you've been away from birthdays and anniversaries and holidays. I appreciate every one of you. I wore that green uniform. I love the United States Border Patrol. I was an ICE agent. I know the job you have. I know the tragedies you've seen. The President is with you. Again, I want to thank Governor Walz, Attorney General, and Mayor for their candid, insightful, productive discussions we had. Again, I'm not saying we agree on everything, but I think we all already accomplished great things in Minnesota. I am optimistic we will achieve even more in the coming days to make this city safer. I would also like to thank the numerous local law enforcement officials I was able to meet with the last 9 days since I arrived here. I appreciate hearing from local law enforcement, their perspective on what's happening. I appreciate the desire to enhance communications between their agencies and our agencies, and that communication has been vastly improved. I truly appreciate your commitment to respond to federal law enforcement in a time of need. Every chief I talked to, every one of them, promised to respond to any public safety issue when our officers are out doing their sworn duty and people start crossing the line and they start impediment, interference. Every police chief has committed to doing their job and enforce public safety. We talked to a lot of sheriffs throughout the nation. We have unprecedented cooperation. I've yet to talk to a sheriff that said no. There's still more sheriffs we are in discussions with and talking to, but I have not heard no. I think they want to do the right things for their communities too. Lastly, I'd like to thank President Trump for his steadfast leadership and commitment to law enforcement, public safety, and prosperity. I've said this many times. I've worked for 6 presidents and 10 administrations. When it comes to public safety, border security, immigration enforcement, no one's done it better than President Trump. His success is unprecedented. Later on today, Secretary Noem is having a press conference on our southern border, the most secure border in the history of this nation, because of the leadership of President Trump and the men and women over there wearing green uniform. Most secure border in the history of this country, which means less children are dying making that journey, less women and children are being sex trafficked, less fentanyl getting in this country to kill our young people, less known suspected terrorists being released in this country. The most secure border in a lifetime gives us the strongest national security we've seen. You can't have strong national security without strong border security. I wish I could be at that press conference, but the president has called me here. I just had a small part in it. The reason we have the most secure border is because of President Trump's leadership and the men and women wearing the green uniform, which I once wore. I just reported, I was down there with Commissioner Scott, CBP Commissioner Scott, 2 weeks ago. We went through that border in boat, forward drive, and in the air. We toured the border in California, Texas, and Arizona. And I did not see one illegal alien. Think about that. The last 9 months, no one's been released from that border. The most secure border in history of this nation. So God bless the men and women of the Border Patrol. God bless President Trump for his leadership. And God bless the United States of America. And I'll take questions.
Sir, you said that you're getting unprecedented cooperation. Where's that coming from? Is it coming from the sheriffs? Have you signed agreements with them? Are Hennepin and Ramsey County part of that? And the 700 officers leaving Minnesota, are they Customs and Border Patrol or ICE or?
There's a mix, but that number is based on, number one, the cooperation again, rather than having whole teams out looking for a criminal alien who was just released. Now we have one agent at that jail picking that person up. That and the operation has been successful on a number of arrests, so the target list is reducing. So with the efficiencies of the jails, with the efficiencies of the prison system working with us, and the target list decreasing, we had a whole team looking at what makes sense without risking officer safety and the security teams, and that number is 700. Look, we want to get back to the original footprint, the Minnesota footprint of what ICE officers looked like before this operation, plus the additional hires through the big, beautiful bill. A lot of these people, you got agents here from LA, New York, and Portland. There's problems there too. So we want to get people back to their home stations and enforce immigration laws in those areas. But the vast majority of sheriffs, there's only a few that we're still in consultation with, but this is unprecedented cooperation. So again, I want to thank, the sheriffs, the governor, and the AG. I think we're in a lot better place than we've ever been in. We never had this kind of cooperation at this level, and I'm not leaving until we get it all done. But I'm happy to say I'm extremely pleased with the leadership team and their outreach to the sheriffs, to the state, to the chiefs. I've talked to many of them. I didn't talk to all of them, but I plan on talking to every one of them before I leave and thanking them for their cooperation.
Are you getting cooperation from Hennepin and Ramsey?
Follow-ups right here. Go ahead.
With everything that you've mentioned here right now, do you think this operation was a success here in Minnesota?
Yeah, I think I just listed a bunch of people we took off the streets of the Twin Cities. So I think it was very effective as far as public safety goes. Was it a perfect operation? No. No. And I just told you, we created one unified chain of command, make sure everybody's on the same page, make sure we're deconflicting targets, and making sure we follow the rules. And I'm not saying anybody, I don't think anybody purposely didn't do something they should have done. I'm saying that I brought a different set of eyes on this. I've done this for a long time. We made this operation more streamlined, and we established a unified chain of command, so everybody knows what everybody's doing. And not that it wasn't current before, but we approved upon that. So in target enforcement operations, we go out there. There needs to be a plan, and I want to make sure everybody has a plan. But I'm not going to sit here and point a finger at anybody that they failed. It was a great operation. We took a lot of public safety threats off the street.
Right here.
Can I ask a quick numerical, just clarification? I think it's my main question, please. So 700 leaving effective immediately. How many will that leave here once that group is out?
Right around 2,000.
And what is the pre-operation footprint?
Well, that's 150.
150 is normal.
But we got to remember now, we got special agents on detail here doing the fraud investigation. They're not going anywhere. They're going to finish their job. I'm talking about immigration enforcement efforts.
Understood. So then my main question is just, we've talked to people who say they're protesting not the arrests of people with criminal backgrounds, but things like broad ICE patrols, random citizenship checks of people of color, and the detainment but no charges of U.S. citizens. So have you committed or will you commit to officers on the ground here ceasing those actions?
What I have made clear, we're doing targeted enforcement operation. When we leave this building, we know who we're looking for, where we're most likely to find them, what their immigration record is, what their criminal record is. But as we continue to be forced in the communities, when we go to arrest that criminal target, if we find an illegal alien there, they're coming. We're not going to turn a blind eye to illegal immigration. That's why this partnership and this coordination is so important. We'd much rather work in the safety and security of jail. Look, I go to bed every night wondering if every one of our officers go home safely. I also am concerned that every person we're looking for is taken into custody safely. The best way to do that is to have a target enforcement operation, a well-planned operation. That's the way we've done it for decades.
So should we expect to see no more of that?
Pardon me?
Should we expect to see no more of those citizenship checks?
I have directed target enforcement operations, and we'll hold our officers to the highest standards. Right. These are professionals. Again, I wish every one of you could put that gun on your hip, put that Kevlar vest on, go out there and put up what they put up with. Considering the hate, the rhetoric, the attacks, I think they performed remarkably, and I'm proud of them. We came here, President Trump sent me here. I didn't ask to come here. President Trump sent me here to help de-escalate what was going on. We're not surrendering our mission. We're not walking away from our mission. We're just making this more effective and more smart. This is smart law enforcement. Smart law enforcement makes it safer.
Great.
Realistically, how much work is there left to do here? And with this unprecedented cooperation, how long could this take, best case scenario in your eyes, to get the job done?
Okay, I said it. We want to get out. We want to get back to the normal operational footprint here, but that depends on the people out there putting up illegal roadblocks. That depends on people that want to intimidate and interfere and put hands on ICE officers. Tone down the rhetoric. Stop violating the law and impeding and interfering with us, and the drawdown be quicker. I still got more discussions to have with some local law enforcement officers looking for their cooperation. The more cooperation we get, the less rhetoric and hate we see, and the less attacks means we can draw down even more quicker. So, a lot of this has to do with assistance from the community. We want to get these men and women home. They got a job to do at home, and I think we come a long ways. I'm actually, yesterday afternoon, I was sitting on my chief of staff. I'm actually amazed at the cooperation and agreements we already talked about, and the willingness to work with us. We're doing better than I ever thought we would, seriously. And I'm excited about getting back to the business of enforcing immigration law without without arresting people for 111 for interference and impeding. We just want to do what we've done for 30 years, 40. I've done doing this 40 years. We want to get back to doing the job, and that's what we plan on doing. And we're not. I want to keep this because I keep hearing it and hearing it and hearing it. We're not surrendering the president's mission on a mass deportation operation. If you're in the country illegally, if we find you, we'll deport you. But this is about target enforcement operation, and that's what we're going to be doing.
Last question, go ahead.
You've been talking about these filter blockades. People, just regular people, protesters are checking IDs, they're running people's plates, and they're not letting people who they think are ICE agents through. But we've seen Minneapolis Police Department roll by and ask these protesters, are they doing okay? And they let these things stay up for extended periods of time. What do you make of MPD's lack of action on this matter?
When I was away to wear the roadblock shifts, I called the chief of police, and he went and disbanded them. After I got off the phone with him, he has promised to take enforcement action. It's illegal. You can't do that. And again, a message to those folks: what are you doing? You really think you're going to stop an ICE and CBP from doing the job? It's a joke. Only people you're hurting is your own community who wants to go and get groceries, pick up the dry cleaning, or go to work, whatever. You're just hindering them. Stop. Stop.
Right.
I just have a quick clarification on the body cameras. Just a clarification.
Mr. Holman, could you just talk about the targeted list? How big is that list?
Report though it's only a misdemeanor.
All right, so more questions, but Board Czar Tom Homan leaving the microphone there in Minneapolis. Of course, you just were hearing from the Board Czar speaking in Minneapolis. Let's bring in David, Dr. Gina, to discuss this a little bit more. Guys, there's so many takeaways here. One of the main ones, David, is that apparently the number of federal agents in Minneapolis is going to be downgraded. They're pulling, I think he said, about 700 agents out of Minneapolis. Another thing that the Borders Czar emphasized that has stuck with me is that if you're in this country illegally, you're a target. Yes, the focus is going to be on the criminals, the biggest criminals, but if you're here illegally, that's also a crime. And if you get caught up in the dragnet, you're going to be deported. And finally, David, one of the things that I heard from the Borders Czar that really struck me, he thanked Governor Walz and he thanked Mayor Frey, but it seemed to be somewhat of a coerced thank you. It seemed to be a bit of a labored thank you, which leaves me to believe that maybe the cooperation between those two and the Borders Czar isn't necessarily what's being said publicly. Love to get your thoughts, David, and then Dr. Gina, I'd like you to weigh in as well.
Let's cut to the chase. The big talk in MAGA will be, did this administration cave? That's the question. My sense is in War Room in X amount of minutes here, Steve Bannon will have quite a bit to say about this. I think you can call it a cave. I think you sure can call it a cave. 700 agents drawing back from Minneapolis saying, you know what, we're going to put public safety first. We'll get to the mass deportations at some point. But right now, we're just going after the criminals. Now, having said that, let's also be clear on the other side. Frey and Walz, at least according to Tom Homan, have blinked here. We'll see. I don't know if that's even true. I mean, I'm not saying that what Tom Homan is saying is a lie, but we'll see if Walz and Frey comply, which is this idea that county jails are now going to allow ICE to find out not only when these criminals are going to be released, but get them before they are released into the public domain, if you will. So whether or not that happens, I don't know. But that's the caveat here. In other words, some will say that it's Walz and Frey that blinked because of that. Look, all I know is that if you're going to have 700, Gina, if you're going to have 700 less federal agents on the ground in Minneapolis, there's going to be talk that this administration caved in Minneapolis to the sanctuary city mob, if you will.
Yeah, no question. 700 fewer agents is some sort of big change, right? You have to put it in some column. But my question for you, David, is just, I remember you saying you thought that maybe they were going after too many folks who weren't criminals. What was the solution in your mind?
Well, no, first of all, I do believe, and I've said all along, that I think it should be the worst of the worst. I'm reiterating what Tom Homan was saying. I'm reiterating what President Trump said as well, which was we're going after the worst of the worst at first. We'll get to the mass deportation of everybody else. I'm not saying that that's off the table. I'm just saying that has to come second. And that's what Homan said today. That's exactly what Homan said. So he said public safety is the number one concern, that we got to get the criminals off the streets first, and then we'll worry about the rest afterwards. So I'm agreeing with Homan.
So this is what you were hoping, because I know there are others in MAGA that feel the same way. I didn't feel that way. But so we kind of differed on that. So that's why I was just asking.
I think you have to do it in stages.
Okay.
I think you have to do it in stages. I'm not saying that everybody's off the table. I'm not saying if you come here illegally, you can stay. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you got to start with the worst of the worst. Let's start there and go from there. Well, listen, we got to get the criminals off the streets, worst of the worst first. Why don't we start there and then we have that discussion? That's what I'm saying. Oh, okay. I guess I'm going to wrap. Should I wrap? Oh, look, a single shot of me. Just what I like. No, all right. Still to come on America Sunrise. We've got a lot more on many of the developments here today. It's been a fast-moving show. We'll be back in a second.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
I'm Patriot Mermaid, and I'm from West Haven, Connecticut. When the mainstream media wasn't giving us the truth, I went and looked for the truth and found it on Real America's Voice. Come and join us. Come on.
My name is T.J. Ash from Carbonville, Utah. Real America's Voice lets me express my conservative views without censorship or edit.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thanks for joining us today. It's time now for the one to watch. Terrance, what are you watching?
All right, so I've got my eyes on a number of stories, but specifically kind of this adversarial relationship that continues between reporters and the Trump administration. I'm not just going to say President Trump, but the Trump administration in general. CNN reporter Caitlin Collins, well, she got dragged to the carpet yesterday in the Oval Office. In case you missed it, here's the president.
I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
What would you say to people
like
who feel like they haven't gotten justice, Mr. President?
Something that people care about. Yeah, what did you say? Go ahead.
What would you say to the survivors who feel like they've gotten
You are the worst reporter. No wonder CNN has no ratings because of people like you. You know, she's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile on your face. You know why? You know why you're not smiling? Because you know you're not telling the truth. And you're a very dishonest organization, and they should be ashamed of you.
So look, Dr. Gina and David, as an American, as a reporter, I don't like to see those sorts of interactions, even though I understand where it came from. And since we don't have a whole lot of time, I'll just end the segment here by saying that it's up to each of us as reporters, as journalists, to be better, to do better. And so I'm going to, at least from my point of view, commit to trying to be better, tell the truth, and to keep up a journalistic integrity that hopefully will be beyond reproach.
We have a limited time, but T. Bates, I'll send it back to you. Why don't you feel like that's a bad thing? Why is that a bad thing? Why don't you like